Training camp is just around the corner, and the Bills, their rookies, are going to report to camp tomorrow. Their vets are going to report next Tuesday. And no teams do have rookies reporting today, but joining the Bills tomorrow are the Panthers, Texans, Dolphins, and Patriots. We also got some uniform news today. The Bengals are going to wear their white helmets on New Year's Eve versus the Ravens. And to go along with that, the Bengals are going to attempt to create a stadium-wide black and white stripe in the stands. To baseball, Yankees do host the Pirates tonight, and the Jays have Tampa in town. Both those will get going just after 7 o'clock. Then at 7:40, the Mets are at Milwaukee, and something else to keep an eye on. The Red Sox, they're hosting Baltimore tonight at 7:10, and Boston currently is riding a 13-game winning streak, the club's longest win streak since 1948. And the Open Championship, it wrapped up this weekend, thus also ending the major season in golf. Ryan Fox takes the win, and we'll talk with Brian Koziel for more on that at 6 o'clock, so do stay tuned for that one. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
You know, I gotta wonder what kind of working relationship he'd have with Satan.
It's Mike Schopp.
I've often wondered that. Like, well, he, they, I don't know what his pronouns are, or their pronouns. Anyway, Satan.
And the Bulldog.
What's the upside of doing well?
Well, maybe they're too busy making everyone else's life hell.
Oh, boy.
And
wow.
you might just be able to do your own thing if you're partnered with Satan.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
They're too busy, making Scott Norwood miss field goals.
Oh, come on.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
It just occurred to me, I don't think you've been here since the duct tape.
No, you had the you had the
You have?
I did. I tuned in for about 10 minutes last week. Honestly, no offense. And
No offense.
Heard you talking about the duct tape on the headphones.
So you knew about it.
But you did that before we split.
Really?
Yeah, before you were gone and then I was gone. Was that the order of things? Yeah. Anyway, so I knew about the duct tape. You still haven't done anything to change that, I see. So.
About this or anything else in the world.
Right,
I
sure.
don't ever do anything about anything. Right. It's not good. It's not pretty. But yes, maybe it is pretty. Maybe you're watching and you love duct tape and you see one flap down. Has the show ever sounded older? Jeffrey Leonard. Remember Jeffrey Leonard, one flap down? He would round Giants slugger in the 80s, Jeffrey Leonard. 89 was their big year. Will Clark and then Leonard, 3-4 in the batting order. They made the playoffs. They lost to they beat the Cubs. They lost to the A's in the Earthquake series. Anyway, Leonard's he was known for one flap down because he would round the bases like in protest almost. Like he'd do the thing you do, sort of chugging along around the bases, pumping your one arm like this.
And he had the other one out like a wing.
Straight
right?
down.
Like
No, straight down.
Oh, okay.
He would hold his other arm straight down like against his leg.
Right, okay. Yeah.
One flap down.
Yeah, I don't remember it as well as you. I know for sure I was here for the duct tape because we had what might have amounted to as a duct tape segment where I divulged that I have duct tape that I keep in my truck to use around my house.
Right.
So I know where it is when I need it. Because if I left it in the house, it would be always moving to like different places. And at least I know. I mean, it sucks in the winter, but if I need duct tape, it's right out front. I don't have to
Brilliant.
I have to search the house looking for the duct tape. It's in the console of my truck.
Well, today is another beginning here with your being back, and I'm here, like we're both here in the same room and the whole thing. But it also feels like an ending of a prolonged and glorious sports summer with World Cup.
Big time, yeah.
Ending. That was a good 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Plus the hype over it and everything else. Like, it was awesome. And now the golf major season, anyway, is over. All at once, the Open Championship, the World Cup final. And so next is the Bills. We're at that point now. We're on the cusp of training camp.
World Cup
cusp.
World Cup helped bridge the June, July, like some of that anyway.
Did it ever?
Yeah.
And the Sabres led right into it.
I would.
We had the draft.
Speaking of things that feel like an ending, First thing I did when I got into the computer that I use here, the desktop that belongs to the company, is close out the windows that I had open for TSN's free agent tracker and trade track. Well, I don't know. I mean, I suppose I left them open the week you were off because it felt like, you made the point before you even went away that,
nobody big moved.
All those whales are still out there. So maybe that'll, and there was enough reporting kind of percolating that week you were away. Then like, all right, I'm just going to keep this. This could still maybe, and I don't know. I didn't exactly pay super close attention last week, but it feels like every time I see anything from like an NHL rumors account, the date on it is 2 weeks old. Like, it's just like they're just trying to keep your attention. But like, here's something that David Pagnotta said on July 11th. Like, okay, maybe I don't know.
Proof again that we follow different accounts.
Right. So So I closed all that stuff.
I think the person, and I mean this not in a negative way at all, that's closest to being an NHL insider that I follow is Marty.
Okay.
I don't think I follow anybody closer to the none of the Dreggers and
you just sort of assume you're going to get that stuff if you need
of course.
it. Right, that's how it usually works.
And then what'll happen is a fate worse than death. If I were to follow one of those guys and I inadvertently would retweet them, that's a fate worse than death. Because who are the peons among us that are retweeting those? Why are we doing that? Like, there's just no point. There's no point in retweeting Adam Schefter. He's already Adam Schefter. Like, there's three people maybe that follow you and not there's no point in doing that. So I think I could probably make that mistake. But since you brought up this hockey stuff, where are you at on this? Like, it's It's July 20th. It is so cottage time in hockey. Like, I don't know. These people are probably well off enough to own the cottages, unlike my family the last 2 years renting them.
Rent places,
they probably own them. They just live there for a month and a half or something.
Yeah.
But I went in on Hellebuck late last week. It is a poker game if you think the Sabres want him, which I think there's evidence that they do.
I agree.
So if you think that they would make this trade, and, as we apparently both think that they would like to, it's a poker game, and it feels like the Sabres have been right to wait out the Jets. So they wanted to make that draft night move from 4 to 8, which of course they did because they would have picked the same player at 8. He would have been sitting there.
Probably, yeah. Right.
The guy they got.
Yeah.
But that's also maybe somebody that Winnipeg liked, and, perhaps that's part of the equation here. You wait him out because the player wants to go and the team knows it, and how many options do the Jets have? There is a shelf life to that. There is a point at which I think you just decide, all right, I'm going into the season with my guys. This did not happen. I don't think that that's necessarily right now or even in a month from now. But I think at some point the Jets could outweight the Sabres, so to speak. And, I guess that's the chance you take.
I do think the Sabres, it's tough. Who has the upper hand in a situation like this, right? Like, who's calling the shots? I mean, Winnipeg has the superstar player. The Sabres, we both have decided here early in today's show that we agree that the Sabres wanted to do it, and I would assume would still like to do it. They would like to, fire that shot and get Connor Hellebuck on their team. So they want the player. Winnipeg has the player. He's theirs. So it would seem they control it. But as you get further, what I think really, if you want this to end well for the Sabres in that, well, you're rooting for the Sabres to pull off this trade that they seemingly wanted to complete back around the draft, if not even later than that, you have to hope that Winnipeg gets to a point as the season is creeping closer, or maybe they're even, we're into training camps already. But the time gets really condense there because that goes by in a blink and then the season starts. But if Hellebuyck is unhappy, uncooperative, like just he makes it more known that he wants to get out of there, Winnipeg could get to a point where they call the Sabres back or anyone else that they've been talking to. But I think the Sabres have made the most sense of anyone, I think, through all this. And just like, okay, where do we leave off? Because we'll do that then. Because Winnipeg might feel like they've almost got a gun to their head at some point. We've got the superstar player that doesn't want to play in Canada maybe anymore, let alone Winnipeg. And so the pressure, even though they have the guy and he's under contract and, you know, he's been theirs and they know him a lot better than any of us do, they might become the team at a disadvantage from a negotiating standpoint if they feel like they're getting – so the Sabres can't afford to – you know, I'm sure there's a world where they go, we liked our 3 guys. That was good enough. Any of us have taken turns saying that. And maybe it comes to a head much later in the summer because there's no impetus. Like, I don't think Connor Hellebuyck is walking into anybody's office today or next week in the middle of July or early August and demanding to be traded. But once they all get back and everything starts to move and they say, let's check in on Connor. Like, where's he at? Like, I really wanted to get traded, guys. Then maybe they got to do something.
Well, I wonder if it wouldn't happen before that. I think there'd be a natural, from the teams, both teams, any team's standpoint, and also the players, a natural inclination to resolve the problem before it gets to like walking into taking the physical, you know, like, and that's when. Like the start of the football season is when that happens, you know, like September 10th or thereabouts. I mean, it would vary probably team to team.
Right.
Isn't that about when?
Like mid-September, yeah. They have a couple of practices and then start playing preseason games, and that's what I meant when I said it goes by real fast. Once that starts, it's like you're on the ice for a regular season game in like 2 weeks.
Well, I think one, and I said this last week and would like your thought on it. I think one, to say it a certain way, advantage the Jets might have in terms of the Sabres or any potential trade partner. Look at it from the Sabres standpoint. The sooner, if they want Connor Hellebuyck, which, you know, maybe they do, the sooner they get him, the better. Even if there is no hockey for 2 months. Like, the sooner they get him, the better, the more time they have to sell it. I mean, to sell jerseys, to market him, and get everybody kind of ready for it. Because you've got, how does Luukkonen feel right now? Is he, I mean, it's summer, so he might be at his own cottage or whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
But is he sort of like in the dark on where he's playing this year? He could maybe even push back on
he could have blocked
Winnipeg.
He could have blocked that. I mean, he's got 5 teams that he can pick to not be dealt to.
I don't think we're at a point in time yet on the calendar where it would necessarily affect anybody's preparation. And, you know, that's all pretty individual. Like, you play for who you play for, and you can sort of look at it like that. I'm still going to lift the same weights. I'm still going to run the same number of laps. But you want to have that kind of comfort feeling, like you know where you're going. The Sabres are coming off this tremendous, out of nowhere, this tremendous year, and players on the team would probably be pretty amped up to sort of get back together and run it back and see what they can do. And whether that's only Luukkonen or even a couple of other players that are always rumored in these kinds of things, you have a little bit more, as far as we know, a little bit more uncertainty. So the sooner the better for it. And that's not exactly in the Sabres' favor when it comes to leverage.
Yeah, I know, it is. I know how we talk about it. I mean, it's pro sports and it's a part of the life that they've chosen, and that's what the money is for and all that sort of stuff. I would not, if I were Luukkonen or like Luukkonen's a parent or someone who cares about him, I wouldn't want him sitting all summer with, whatever happened, whether he was involved in it and he said no because by July 1st he had that right or whatever it is. He might be, sure, he's going to do his work. And I think most guys would just do that, prepare. I know I'm going to be in the NHL. I'm an NHL player. I have a $4.5 or $4.75 million contract. I'm going to play, so I got to get ready. you'd like to know where you're going. You'd like to know where you stand with the organization that drafted you, that has developed you, that chose you to be the game one starter in the playoffs. You'd like to know if they're still eager to offload you, because even if you can block Winnipeg, if the Sabres can still put any kind of a trade package together that doesn't involve Luukkonen, they're going to offload him somewhere else. They're not going to keep him here, pay him $4.75 and Hellebuck $8.75 or whatever his.
No, I want a 3-team trade.
Yeah, right. So something's going to happen, or it could just be a separate, whatever. But he's going somewhere if they trade for Hellebuck, and so sitting with that for him is a pretty lousy summer, I think. You
need a new house,
right?
Maybe you need a new passport. I mean,
who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? So. If I were the Sabres, I would love to know, of course, what the back and forth has been, assuming, again, like we're doing, that this is still something that they would like to see through. But we really don't know that. So it is the time of year where we're pretty much, hockey is closed by now. Stuff does pop up once in a while when you get to this point over the next month or 6 weeks. But for the most part, usually it's done. Maybe not. I still think the light is on for this trade idea, even though it's absolutely summertime. And that means training camp, which, the rookies report tomorrow to Orchard Park to lift and take physicals and whatever that is. There's no media or anything, apparently, but we're like right on the brink of camp. Josh Allen is 30. Because I love this, it's a complete and total waste of time, but footballguys.com, who I love that site, and Sigmund and all those guys, they have a Rate My Team feature. So I killed too much time to even admit to. Just completely vain, looking up teams, only the good ones, only the teams I think will get a good grade. And they have different ratings for each player. Reach, steal. I saw too much of that reach. Steal, reach, safe floor.
With the Bills, you're talking about?
No, fantasy teams.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. And an Allen team of mine, I looked up, and the word is veteran.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even like steal or reach or safe floor or anything. Like, it's just veteran.
Like known commodity.
He is in the veteran phase of football life. 8 years in. And you are famous for, among other things.
Oh, boy. Wow. What's this going to be?
Reminding fans that, look, fans, Tom Brady is a unicorn. Not everybody gets into their 40s, and you should be able to expect excellence.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So
Rodgers is still playing, but he's been nowhere near the player he was in his prime. Whereas Brady never really left his prime. He just stopped playing eventually.
He left it, I might say, around like 36, but then got it back somehow. Is Allen in the back half?
I think you almost have to say yes, or he's right. He's right at the midpoint. 8 years. Double that is 16. He's 38 if he goes another 8 years. So, unless he wants to be one of these guys that plays and plays and plays, then I think maybe even optimistically.
He doesn't want to be one of those guys.
Right. He's the way he sounded about it even sounded like it might be less than that if he can't hurdle over linebackers anymore, and if that's what he meant by when I can't play how I want to play, then maybe it'll be time to go. Then maybe it's even shorter. So maybe being at the midway point of his career is being optimistic.
Yep.
At this point, man, it goes by.
Yes, I really? Not knowing him, I think signs point to he's not going to play forever. I mean, this might be a little bit naive, but I think the one thing we have, not the only thing, but one thing we have in terms of him and the future is this quest to finally win it. That's a individual one, and that's also all of us. Like his team, as we know, like that's never happened. So there is that one piece, like Elway might have been a little bit, where, I mean, I don't know how he felt at 34 if he wanted to keep playing, but that was his lifelong team, or only team he played for professionally, and they were close, and there was that goal, and then they did it, and then they won again, and he retired. Anyway, like there is that. I don't want to assume that that's like a driving force in his thinking, but I just know of Allen that he's like so well healed now. Whether that's that company that he was a part of, that's Hollywood, that's just sort of off the field. And a lot of guys, might, when they get to post 30, just like not want to play anymore. I've taken a beating. He has taken a beating. Like he's delivered beatings, but he has also played.
Yeah, he's played through them all mostly, but he's taken a lot of hits.
Yeah. So this is not like right at our front door, but I wonder if, as we get into this Bill season coming up, if we can start to see not the end, but the clock has been ticking on this with him. And it might be at a point where, now that he's turned 30 years old, where we're thinking about like, how many more years do we have? Which I don't think most people have thought about at all before. Like what the end, when the end comes, when it comes to him. It's not right now, but I think just sort of naturally when he turns 30 years old is when you get to a point where you start to think like, all right, well, what's left here? And I think that's interesting from a viewpoint of the stars at the position overall. I mean, Mahomes is different because he's won 3, but he's also at that point, that stage of his life. I mean, he's a part owner. He's got all the money. Who knows how long a guy like that wants to do it? Lamar Jackson, who's a little bit younger, maybe, but he's also somebody, these guys, now you have new names in the hierarchy in the AFC. Not that they're super young. Well, May is.
Right.
Nix is not even that. He's 26 maybe, but you've got Herbert and Lawrence and even CJ Stroud if you want him. Some new names there to consider for this. We'll talk to Sam Monson today. Been a while since we've had Sam on. World Cup is over. Open Championship was not my weekend. I was due to lose that golf bet. It had been a while since I'd lost one. I was never... When Scotty Scheffler goes 3 years without making one putt, parentheses one,
Right.
How excited can you really get?
It's going to be tough.
He still almost was there. Like,
yeah, I mean, he needed a birdie on the last hole to force a playoff if nobody else ended up going lower, and it turns out Fox did, right? I mean, Fox got to 10 under.
Right, and how cool was that guy? What a tough bozo, as you said in the text.
I did, I know.
If Scheffler is a name at -9, is that a different putt? Is that a different last few holes for Fox? Maybe not.
I knew, I watched a lot of it Saturday, just generally. I think at really like 5 in the morning until it signed off. So, I mean, I saw a lot of it Saturday. So I knew he'd shot 62, but I really didn't sit with him. I didn't know how fast he played or anything about him, really. I saw him take his visor off or his hat off, and he shot a 62. Yay. Right? That was because he was like 52nd going into the weekend, I think, right? He was way back.
He was even.
He got in the thing by shooting 62. So that was the first time I thought about him. And I didn't think about him again. And I was out golfing yesterday morning. I came home, and in about 20 minutes of TV time, he became my favorite golfer ever. Like, I just, like, everything that happened to him, I turned it on just as he hit, I don't know what, it might have been 15. I don't remember all the holes. But he hit a long iron into a green and just caught the very tip top of the bunker, the wall of a bunker, and then had to play backwards and just basically eat a bogey, and he's in contention. Like, man, that's
a good bogey.
It was a great bogey. And then he's got another sand shot where he's like squatted down because he can't get a stance. And he just kept making shots and doing it all like, he played already. Like, he just kept hitting the ball so fast. Even this putt that he drained to win the thing, he just like walked up. Like, I don't even know if he was playing with Burns.
Yeah.
Did Burns even have his ball out of the hole yet?
So from
like he's up and he's hitting.
From the moment Burns takes his ball out of the hole to Fox's putt was 22 seconds.
Right.
You know, not one of these guys who sort of straddles the line
Right,
and,
right.
you know, stares at it
Has
and
his
turns
caddy
around.
walk it, and he walks it, and the whole thing.
22 seconds from, all right, you're done, I'm going. Yeah, that's crazy. It's great. I mean, it's very viewer-friendly, fan-friendly.
Yes.
And I also just, like you're saying, I think, really admire it.
Yeah.
But he took he did whatever he could do to take his mind out of it.
Right.
And he said he took his hands out of it the best extent that he could, too, when he was putting. Like, just, I don't want...
Yeah,
he's basically saying, I don't want nervousness to creep in. I'm going to do whatever I can to sort of block that out. I'm going to play fast, and I'm just going to, you know, whatever
I think
meant in his
I think
putting
he
stroke.
said the more I think, the more I feel like I'm going to get tangled up, and I don't want to. I've learned that this is how I function best.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to lose this one because I never would have picked Ryan Fox.
Right.
And better for me than like if Burns or even Cameron Young had won.
But
maybe I should have picked them.
It obviously got interesting. I missed it all Sunday morning because I was out golfing myself. But it was like Scheffler and Fleetwood were both, I think, 5 back going into play on Sunday. Or maybe one of them was 4 and the other was 5. Whatever it was, I was like, I don't feel that worried. You had Fleetwood too. Those were the only 2 that were a threat by Sunday morning, and it got tasty there for a while.
Even Henley was rolling and had a few holes left to get maybe to 7 or 8, but then faltered. So he might have been to 7. Yeah, it was not my week, but fun to watch. Always a great weekend morning,
and I mean
spectacle.
I don't want to say I missed the sideways rain and the howling wind, but it was perfect the whole weekend.
I would have loved some rain and wind, but you do run the risk of delays then.
Right. It was
there
beautiful looking
all the time.
The whole time.
All right, Bills, Sabres, and more. 803-0550. You've missed Bulldog. Here he is. Sam Monson today. Brian Koziol joins us late in the show to recap the Open Championship 1 and the Major Season 1 final time. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for listening. Your call's coming up. This is WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfield, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
give Belknap a ring.
putt to win the Open.
He has it! Ryan Fox, champion golfer of the year. He celebrates, and far away New Zealand celebrates with him. What a finish, what a way to take it. The stuff that dreams are made of.
Ryan Fox follows Aaron Rye as the season's final two. Well, no, Wyndham Clark in between.
Right. Yeah, he won the Open.
McIlroy.
Open, yeah.
I should get my notebook out and write this down before I forget. McIlroy, Rye, Clark, Fox. A good year to be on the side that you were on with Brian Koziol yesterday,
right.
Which is like betting against
yeah.
the player who's picking from the 10 winners.
Yeah.
Seriously, like when I kind of knew I was dead, but I didn't want it to be that somebody maybe I could have picked won. And that might have been Young or Burns. I think
sure.
those were both
yeah.
reasonable
Decent
considerations.
Ideas. Yeah.
Fox never was. Aaron Rye in his turn
right.
at the PGA never was. Like how much sleep can you really lose?
Right.
Even Clark.
Right.
Although he was at least a previous winner of the tournament.
Yeah, right. And that was me. Yeah. But.
So it had been a couple years of the Schefflers and the Schauffele's and the Rahm, McIlroy.
Yeah.
And the last three have gone somewhat against the grain.
There is a streak now going. Boy, they said it. I watched the presentation of the Claret Jug and the whole thing. And so I was there for a while. And at some point before they signed off on NBC yesterday afternoon, it was some span of time, and I can't remember how many years it is now, but it's a substantial amount of years. I think maybe even double digits, that the winner of the Open has been a first-time winner of the Open.
I think it's
17,
2013, maybe.
Okay,
something like that.
Yeah.
Let me check mine.
All right. So I mean that's a pretty nice little. It's not first-time major winner, but first-time winning the Open. There's not been someone who's won it before. In fact, yeah, and that was what Scheffler was trying to do, there are other people in the field, obviously, who've won it, but Scheffler was trying to go back-to-back and couldn't do it.
That's basically the entire history of our bet.
Yeah, that's right. 13
Brian
is when we
Harmon,
started. Yeah.
Cameron Smith, Morikawa, Lowry, Molinari, Spieth. Spieth had won majors, but not that one.
Mm-hmm.
Stenson, Zach Johnson, McIlroy has won Open Championship. Mickelson, even. And I don't know before that. We're getting closer to Tiger Woods, but
right.
Yeah, like it's been, you're right, 13 or so, maybe more years in a row since anybody has won that tournament that had won it before. And who came closest to doing that here? I guess Scheffler.
I
won
think.
last year.
Yeah.
Might be him. Let's go to Mark here. Hi, Mark.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I love GR and talking hockey. And I was thinking about Connor Hellebuck, number one. He's an older guy, so we'd get, maybe 2-3 years out of him. And what value would that hold? But also, what if Winnipeg started the season with him and maybe halfway through the season, his knee went bad again? Wouldn't we be thankful we kind of dodged that one?
Well, sure. If it went that way, if he were terrible or injured, you'd be glad you're not paying him $8.5 million for the next 5 years. Yeah.
Can I just the same predict a knee injury for literally any player on the team already? No. I mean, okay, Mark. It's a specific doomsday scenario. Like I don't know. What if anybody's knee gives just like what Darlene? Right. What do I do then? What value? I'll answer your question if it's not rhetorical. What value is there in trading for this player if he's only great for 3 years? A ton. Go for it. I mean, there's a ton of value in that. Mm-hmm. Did you want Alex Tuck signed? Who has a better long-term? I mean, it's a little bit stilted. It's a goalie versus a forward, but who is likelier to fall off in 3 years? If there's even any answering that. If you wanted Alex Tuck signed, you could ask the same question. Oh, well, what if he breaks down? Yeah, what if he breaks down? Right now, they have not replaced him, other than with their young guys, who I'm excited for, but it's not like they've brought in anybody resembling Alex Tuck. So I don't know. There is. It's not the end of the world to me if they don't trade for Hellebuck. But if you're really asking, I'm not gonna waste any more time on what if he gets hurt. If you're really asking, what value is there in 2 to 3 years? A lot.
I'm a little just confused by the caller's wording because I think he squeezed the word again in there after what if he hurts his knee again. And I don't have an entire medical history up here, but I can just tell you the only year he's played fewer than 60 games was the COVID year when they didn't play. Like he plays like crazy. And there's no gap in there. So I don't know. I'm not saying he hasn't missed a time or a week or two somewhere with a sprain or something, but he's never had anything serious. So it's not like a guy that you would be worried ahead of time. This is not Josh Norris, who's had trouble playing 60 games, let alone 82 as a forward. So there's that. Yeah, the Hellebuck thing. If we're being honest about how I felt about it right from the start, like right from the minute the season ended and it started being talked about as an idea for them, it was down the list of my preferences. I wanted them to do other things to the forward lines or maybe more boldly try to replace Byram than they did. But they ended up here, and to me, it looks like the last best chance you have to do something that would at least be perceived as, both internally and outside, as improving your team. I mean, right now, the only improvement that they've got to bank on is that a bunch of guys who haven't played a ton improve, and that they get a boost from that. And look, that could happen, but that is not the way a contending team usually handles an off season. So I've become more friendly about the idea of them trading for Hellebuck simply because I don't think they're not going to get Dylan Larkin to come here. All right, I don't think Toronto's trading Matthew Knight. All that feels over to me. So I want to maybe do something that could work, but it was never my favorite idea. Like I always wanted it to be like, my last alternative, which maybe is what it actually is for the Sabres, which, maybe is a reason to not do it. But yeah, goalies, the age curve is different, or it can be anyway. So I'm not at all worried about the contract and the money. If he's anywhere near what he's been for almost the entirety of his career, you're doing great at $8.5 million. I think
the Sabres had last year 31 more points than did the Leafs. Today, BetOnline is out with its over-unders. How many points apart are the Sabres and the Leafs in the betting odds? I will tell you the Sabres come in above the Leafs.
Okay.
Which,
I'm gonna say it's less than 10. 7.
1.
1. Wow.
Basically a coin flip.
Wow.
Apparently.
1.
Who has a better season, the Sabres or the Leafs? Can you see it? Can you see Toronto? Do the Sabres have to fall way off? It's 96.5 to 95.5. And by the way, Ottawa 94.5.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, what are we talking about? Bobrovsky, Radish, and then a bunch of speedy bottom of the lineup guys is what basically that's Toronto's offseason.
And they still have their stars.
They still have Matthews, they still have Nylander, they still have Tavares, whatever state he's in at this stage of his career, but still, that's a credible hockey player. I'm not challenging that. I don't know if they've done how many points did they have last year then?
78.
That's a lot. That's a lot of points based on Bobrovsky and Radish, I think.
The Leafs had 23 regulation wins. The Sabres had 42. Almost double.
Yeah. I think that number is largely because the Sabres are perceived as having stood still, if not gone backwards.
Yeah, that is always interesting to me, and I can't say that it shouldn't be just because it's a team I like. With the Bills, it's been a guiding light for many years. Like, all right, what does the betting market say? I mean, how many times have you heard me bring this up? 1,000? What does the betting market say? You like them or you don't like them? Well, I mean, right, actually, with the Bills, I mean, this is sort of the nature of sports radio. The calls we're getting are people who are, like, down on them. They're worried. I mean, I had a couple guys last week who were just like, I don't get it. What do you mean you don't get it? What's the last 7 years been? You think it's all because of Sean McDermott? I mean, he deserves his credit, but what do you mean you don't get it? So now, again, like that's who calls us usually is like this guy. He's a don't better. He's don't trade for Connor Hellebuck. That's kind of how it usually goes. That doesn't necessarily properly reflect the attitude of the fans, just a certain faction of it. But the betting market tells you something meaningful. And the Sabres this year, we saw the cup odds when they came out, and they were like 30-1.
Yeah, they were
what did I miss?
They were almost double what Ottawa's odds were.
Right.
After they traded Brady Tkachuk, I think.
Okay. Either way. Why should they come in
that far off?
Dramatically behind? Why should they come in even with the Leafs? I mean,
do you have easy access to the projected point totals for the rest of the other teams in the division? Like
I got them all.
Okay. Like how? So I'm thinking like you said the number for the Sabres is 95.5?
96.5.
96.5.
Toronto is 95.
Like that's not a 96.5 is not to me a really drastically low number off of a 109-point season. I mean, it's a lot to assume you're going to get over 100 again. It's like I'm not really balking at the Sabre number as much as the Leaf number, I guess. But with that said, what is Montreal? What is Tampa? And like the rest of it?
I'll tell you if you're asking.
That's why I'm asking for you to tell me and tell us.
Does anybody else want to tell them, or should I do it? Top to bottom, Florida 107. Mm-hmm. They're all 0.5. Florida 107, Tampa 102, Montreal 98, Buffalo 96, Toronto 95, Ottawa 94, Boston 89, Detroit 86. Everybody, I think, on that list is higher than last year, where they were in the summer, except the Leafs. Actually, Ottawa's down 1 point. The Sabres are up 12 from last year, which is one of the biggest jumps in the league. San Jose is the biggest jumper, 23 points higher than their line a year ago. So, yeah, Florida to Detroit, 21-point gap by the betting market.
I think the thing that sounds most out of whack on that whole list is Toronto's point total.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I would defer to you on that because you know the rest of the league better than I do. But they're jumping up 17 points from what they did because of Bobrovsky at age what?
Yeah, and Radish. I mean, Radish, I think, would be a nice add. But, yeah, and just, speed, defending, whatever, buy-in. Well, a lot of stuff the Sabres were good at last year, which was, using their skill and speed to defend better. Toronto, I think, did work in that area. Like, there's not a bunch of household names, but I think they got faster, and that could help them. But that's a lot of points for them to gain, I think.
Thanks, Mark. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sam Monson, after a pretty long stint between his visits to our show. Excited to have Sam back today. We'll talk NFL with him in just over 15 minutes. Thanks for listening. Lines open for your calls here on WGR.
dancing so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day, alright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. Oh, you seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of
Sunday Night Baseball, the Yankees beat the Dodgers. Bullpen games for both teams. Yankees win to salvage one there. Yamamoto pitched yesterday afternoon. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, I didn't – I looked at a betting app before I went golfing in the morning, real early in the morning, and saw Yamamoto and Schlittler.
Yes.
And didn't really pay attention to – I watched the end of the golf and then the soccer, and then it was time for the baseball to – it was Peacock, and they have like a around the league show that just covers whatever gap there is. And I turned that on, and they started talking about a bullpen game. I'm like, what the hell happened to Schlittler and Yamamoto? I didn't realize that they both pitched in the afternoon.
They got rained out Saturday and pitched early. Yamamoto, unless you're at Game 2 of the World Series and you're rooting for the Jays, he is just so pretty. Sam Monson next here on WGR.
Training camp just around the corner. The Bills rookies are going to report to camp tomorrow. The vets are going to follow them next Tuesday. And no teams have rookies reporting today, but joining the Bills tomorrow are going to be the Panthers, Texans, Dolphins, and Patriots. Did have some contract news today. The Packers are signing defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt to a 3-year, $57 million extension. He's also getting a $20 million signing bonus. And there was some uniform news today as the Bengals going to be wearing their white helmets on New Year's Eve versus the Ravens. And to go along with that helmet, the Bengals are also going to be attempting to create a stadium-wide black and white stripe in the stands. In baseball, Yankees host the Pirates and the Jays have Tampa in town. Both those start just after 7 o'clock, while it's 7:40. The Mets are at Milwaukee. And then something else to keep an eye on, the Red Sox. They're hosting Baltimore at 7:10. Boston currently riding a 13-game winning streak. That is the club's longest since 1948. And then the Open Championship, it did wrap up this weekend, thus also ending the major season. Ryan Fox takes the win, and we'll talk with Brian Koziel for more on that. Do stay tuned. He'll be joining the show at 6. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
It's nothing you did.
It's not you, it's me.
It's not you. It's you, but you didn't cross me.
And the Bulldog.
Why did I choose? Why did I just stay in school?
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Well, not quite yet for Bills camp, although the rookies report tomorrow to Orchard Park for some weightlifting.
Medicals, maybe.
Medicals.
Yeah.
So we're almost there. Certain of the earlier teams, Seattle, San Francisco, have done this already. But it feels a little bit like a turning point in the calendar with the end of the World Cup and the Open Championship having played out, finishing yesterday. So we're not quite there, but here we go. Sam Monson, who we've known for many years, co-host of Check the Mic with Steve Palazzolo, good enough to join us again now on the Wester Hotline. Sam, how have you been?
Doing well, guys. How about you?
Good. I took a week off, and then Bulldog took a week off, and neither of us really did anything. Substantial. No,
nobody.
I didn't get on a plane.
Yeah, right.
It was kind of, we're getting older, and for whatever reason, we didn't really do anything.
I went to a beach literally 20 minutes from my house. So there's no ocean.
Oh, that works.
Yeah, right. Look, the chair's just as comfortable. The sand is, the sand.
The sand is the sand.
Pretty good.
I drove to Delaware for a lacrosse tournament and then right back. So not much to speak of there. Exciting lives. Sam, where's your head at here as we get going into the summer? It's a little bit of a later start on the calendar, just the way it fell this year, but you got to be excited for everything about to pop here.
Yeah, going to gear up soon. This is my week of not doing anything. I'm visiting my parents. They've moved down to North Carolina, so currently enjoying a break in some air-conditioned room from putting together some ridiculous grill cabinet thing that requires Allen keys and all that kind of stuff, and obviously literally screwed up the very first step because the base is on backwards. So I've gotten half of it done, and it needs to be taken apart by the time I go back upstairs. So this is my week of doing nothing except building things, and then next week is when we gear up along with the rest of the NFL back to training camp and all that kind of stuff. But it's been too long without football.
Tough start. Nice of you to join us during your break. Maybe this is a break from your break right now, considering how this project has started.
You take a breath on the base on backwards. Yeah, right.
We're happy to have you. Well, Sam, let's get your just sort of general feelings about the Bills here. New coach, new stadium for what it's worth. That's exciting around here. It's a new coach, but it kind of isn't. I think it was a surprise to many that they fired Sean McDermott seemingly in the name of change and then promoted his replacement from within. What are your vibes on the Bills going into 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should still be good. Everyone should still be feeling good, optimistic, looking to take that extra step. I mean, that's the reason you fire a coach like Sean McDermott. It's a statement that, he's taken us as far as we can go. We're banging our heads against a glass ceiling here. We need to make some kind of change to take that next step. If they're right, obviously that's what it looks like. As you said, the one curious element of that is you then hire a guy who would be normally seen as a continuity hiring at the same time as you're explicitly saying continuity is not good. If continuity was what you wanted, you wouldn't have fired Sean McDermott because he'd obviously been doing a good job to get you consistently with as many wins as he has in the right areas. Those things I don't think make a ton of sense. Now, even if the kind of explanation for firing him is different and it's more of an office politics thing and it's, somebody's head's got to roll and it's not going to be mine, it doesn't mean it isn't the right decision. You may end up in the right place via the wrong methodology. If something did need to change and, you had it forced upon you, it could still be a good thing and still move this team in the right direction.
The betting markets still love them. There's been, like Mike mentions, we've been in and out of this room together for a couple of weeks here, but when I was last in here, there was a lot of conversation about, is there more pressure on the Bills than any team in the league? Kind of was a vibe. There were, Booger McFarland from ESPN, to name one person that I know I heard a clip from, saying exactly that. And I wonder how, you said you think they'll be good, but you didn't say great. Like, I wonder if it's fair to have the same expectations, because here in Buffalo, everyone wants to get to the Super Bowl. That's what Sean McDermott couldn't do. And that seems like a lot to throw on not just a new head coach, but a first-time head coach with like a whole new revamped defense.
It is, definitely. And that's why, that's why this approach of, when do you pull the pin, when do you decide enough is enough and a guy is banging his head against the wall and can't actually take you any further, versus the reality of, once you get to the playoffs, you're playing the best teams in the NFL. The margins are fine. It's the bounce of a ball. It's, the call of an official. It's hard to win those games, let alone win a series of them and then win a Super Bowl at the end of it all. I maintain it's one of the hardest things to do in sports is, across sports, really, if you've consistently found yourself really close, but not getting over that final hurdle, not getting over the line at the end, when you can accurately realize, this is an actual failing versus we are just consistently on the wrong side of a bunch of coin flip situations. But unfortunately for, the new regime, the new coaching staff, you get put in that position by what went before you. It's not your fault, but now your task, unlike most coaches who are fired, your task is not to turn around a bad franchise and make them viable and then make them good. Your task is to take a team that's already good and take one final step and make them the best team in the NFL. And if that was easy, the last guy wouldn't have been fired.
Right. Sam Monson with us on WGR, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Do you have a particular opinion of Joe Brady as a coordinator, a play caller, schemes? I feel like it's kind of mixed on him out there, if not also here. I think people here are more maybe dubious of how this all played out, as we've talked about already. Is Brady for you like a top tier or even close to it coordinator?
He's had a strange career where at a couple of different times in his career he's been talked about as like the next genius sort of boy wonder type of coach, guy that was going to be the next superstar head coach, and then things kind of cooled off or it fell apart, and we went from he's definitely a future head coach, just wait, it's only going to be a year or two away, to then his career got completely derailed and he had to come back at a much lower level than he left his previous gig at. I think generally he is a good offensive mind. I think his play calling is good. I don't know that it necessarily stands out as great. I don't think if you look at a couple of different things, but the ways that sort of people measure play calling, whether it's fourth down aggressiveness, whether it's the kind of what do you call in second and long, the kind of litmus test stuff that people use to judge play callers. He tends to be good, but not outstanding on that kind of stuff. And equally, there's nothing there that sort of says he's elevating everybody around him the way a Shanahan or a McVay can over a consistent period of time. But I think, the people that know him, people have interacted with him, say he is a smart offensive mind. The fact that he was getting that hype during his career was not a fluke. It wasn't a mistake. Like, he's that guy, and now we just get to see how that translates to being head of the whole program.
When he took over, it was really when they started leaning into the running game. And that has served them very well. I mean, they had the league-leading rusher last year, and the entire league has sort of drifted more towards running. I've said a few times here, Sam, I think the Bills were maybe on the front edge of that wave, leaning more on running games because of how defenses were defending passing plays, especially explosive passing plays. But that all happens with him under the thumb of Sean McDermott to an extent. So it's hard to get a read on whether he was serving someone above him, with his play calling, with maybe, not throwing as often on first down and running on second and long like you referred to. So it's hard to know what you're going to get here, but I think a lot of us are ready to see them sort of lean back into Josh Allen a little bit more.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's always difficult when you're talking about a coordinator, just how autonomous they are. How often are they overruled, if ever, by the head coach? Do they have complete and total play calling autonomy, including that kind of stuff of, do you go for it on fourth down, those types of things? Absolutely a kind of unknown gray area for all these guys when you're projecting them forward to being the final authority. Look, I think the NFL is kind of in flux at the moment. You saw that this offseason with the way everybody was chasing second, third tight ends, just as many big bodies as you can get to try and go heavier on the offensive side of the ball. The Rams obviously lent into that a ton last season with 13 personnel, those 3 tight ends out on the field at any one time. Buffalo already have one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL, plus a lot of tight ends. I mean, they have both the personnel to do it in terms of volume and also the personnel to do it in terms of Jackson Hall as just being an absolute monster as a run blocker. They're already built to kind of keep pushing in that direction.
Sam Monson, our guest. So when you look at the AFC East, the Dolphins are right down with the Cardinals as maybe the lowest win total projections in the league, 4.5 in that space. And I mean, it's good trivia to ask anybody to name anybody on the Dolphins wide receiver room, just anybody at all. It's pretty tough to name those guys. The Jets have been the Jets for so long, and their win total is low too. So you have the Bills, then you have last year's division winner, New England, which famously got fat on one of the weakest schedules anybody's ever seen. I don't know, though, Sam. Like, they were good. They even beat the Bills here last year and made it to the Super Bowl, of course. How do you sort of compare the Bills and Patriots going into the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Bills, there's just a lot more proven commodity about them in terms of Josh Allen and longevity and how long they've been good. And a lot of the personnel, the bones of this thing are still there. That's why I said earlier, you should be pretty confident, I think, that this team will be good. The Patriots is more unknown because it was a very new thing. We just haven't seen them. Plus, as you said, they benefited from basically the easiest schedule in the history of the game. Now, one caveat to that is the past defenses they face were not necessarily that easy. So I think Drake May, having a legitimate MVP case, I don't think that was a mirage. I know it unraveled in the playoffs, but I think that was like he faced, the first, second, and third best defense in the NFL in the playoffs. And that's when, a solid supporting cast in terms of offensive line and receiving core, solid going up against the league's best gets destroyed. And that's what happened, I think, to him and the offense generally in the playoffs. But the point is, if Drake May took that kind of step between year 1 and year 2, even if he doesn't take a step forward again, even if he just stays where he was, that makes them, pretty formidable. And they continued to improve those weaker areas in terms of the receiving core, not just A.J. Brown, obviously the splashiest move they made, but bringing in Romeo Doubs as well with that receiving group, and then the offensive line, they continued working on that. So, if those two groups have taken another step forward, maybe if they run up against the Houston Texans defense, they'll still be destroyed, but I would expect them to be pretty good on offense. And the defense, I think, has got the ability to be solid as well.
Pulling out even further and looking at the AFC, Sam, as we've sort of started getting into shape for these conversations, it dawns on me that for the first time in maybe certainly since the Bills arrived as a contender at some point in the 2020 season when Allen really blasted off and they acquired Diggs before that season, that's when their contention window, I think, really objectively opened. And it's still open now. We mostly have talked about the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. The Bengals have had a turn here or there. Miami had a hot minute when they scored 70 on Denver that year, and they were leading the division most of that year till the Bills got them at the wire in the final game of the season. It seems a lot muddier now. You mentioned Houston just a moment ago. The Chargers seem like they're coming. Now Denver, was in the AFC title game. New England, obviously. Cincinnati. It seems harder to clearly define that top tier anyway. I think that's largely gone now. Do you agree?
Yeah, in the AFC, I think it's wide open this year. You're either dealing with really, really good rosters that have not slightly weaker quarterbacks, or you're dealing with elite quarterbacks whose rosters have fallen off a little bit. Generally, I think that's kind of the landscape right now. I mean, Denver probably should have been the AFC team in the Super Bowl last year. Had Bo Nix not injured his ankle, he'd been able to play against the Patriots. There's a pretty good chance I think Denver beats New England, and they would have been the AFC team. So I think they're right there. And then they add Jalen Waddle, obviously, in the offseason. That's a big splash move that they've made. If Bo Nix comes back healthy, that might be as good a roster as anybody in the AFC. Houston, you could make that argument for as well, but C.J. Stroud is coming off a couple of absolutely abysmal playoff games where he was just wretched. Obviously the Chiefs have Mahomes, but it's not a good-looking roster in Kansas City anymore. It's really taken a hit. The Chargers, I think, are a big X factor with what Mike McDaniel could potentially do to that offense with Justin Herbert. They're one that could become both of those things, like a very good roster and a quarterback playing out of his mind. But, I think the AFC really is wide open.
Interesting. Sam, I've got your back on the Herbert vote, by the way. Not that you asked or needed that necessarily. You knew, well, let's just ask you, like, did you think about, not that it necessarily mattered to you, like sort of what was coming when you voted for Herbert for MVP last year? I know you've always been somebody who can stick up for your stuff. And so I wonder if you knew what you were basically signing up for in that case.
Sort of. I mean, I knew it wouldn't be popular. I knew, you get some kind of the standard online abuse. I wasn't actually anticipating complete meltdown and getting doxxed and that kind of thing. That took me a little bit by surprise.
Well, I would always say this if it comes from you. It's defensible. It was defensible, like you're trying to figure out most valuable player. It's such a twisted discourse, and ended up being Stafford versus May last year, and Stafford won it on what might have been sort of a legacy vote. But inherent to that decision is, I think, probably necessarily a really strong positive opinion on Herbert and where he's at. And this year, not only is he, last I looked, Sam, third in the MVP odds going in a climate where there are all these, great quarterbacks and different possibilities. You usually have to be on a team that wins big to win that award. But he's got Mike McDaniel now. And, not a ton different in terms of weapons or talent around him, but it sounds like this year people are really ready for the Chargers.
Yeah, I think, Mike McDaniel has not really had a top-tier quarterback, certainly talent-wise, to work with in the NFL, and yet he's produced some of the most spectacular, statistical, productive offenses in football. I mean, it doesn't necessarily scale that way, or it doesn't necessarily work just by add 2 plus 2 and you end up with this beautiful 4. But there is a world where you give Mike McDaniel a guy as talented as Justin Herbert, and he just, detonates the NFL, sets all kinds of offensive records, puts up utterly preposterous numbers. Their running back obviously is talented as well. Marion Hampton, a first-round pick from a year ago. Like, there is a world where this all comes together and they just put up one of the most spectacular offensive performances, ever. I don't know that you can necessarily expect that or predict it, but that's why, people are bullish. Like, if you can get Tua to hang 70 on Denver, what could Justin Herbert do, right? Like, that's the kind of logic that people are playing out. And I think there's probably some merit to it. I don't think it's necessarily that, well, Herbert is bigger, stronger, faster, and has a way better arm than Tua. Therefore, if Tua can put up 70, Herbert should be, averaging 95. But I do think that his talent, his skill set, his physical abilities puts things on the table that weren't there when Tua was the quarterback, or even before, in San Francisco. And that should be fun. Letting a guy like Mike McDaniel, an offensive mind as good as he is, work with basically no restrictions. Here, whatever you want to do, you've got the quarterback that can make it work. Let's dial some stuff up. It should be pretty fun to see what they can do. Now we'll get a much better idea of what kind of limiting factors are the receivers. Will that offensive line, be fully repaired, be fully intact this season with a couple of guys coming off injuries, with some new faces? These are still unknowns, but I think there's reason to think that group could be very good, and if they are, the Chargers could absolutely be a legit contender in that wide open AFC.
If I'm asking you something that you've looked at, maybe in terms of like value and what the odds look like, do you have an MVP bet, so to speak, literally or figuratively, for this year? Is there somebody? I mean, for me, and I usually lose, but I'm looking for not somebody in the top 5 for this usually. But I think this could be a good year for that, whether that's Prescott, who's often in the conversation, or Lawrence maybe, or someone like that. Do you have somebody that comes to mind here?
Yeah, I mean, Herbert would be a decent one. Lawrence would be an interesting one as well, because Lawrence is a guy who, and this has happened multiple times in his career, but it did look like the switch flipped for him sort of halfway through the year. Liam Cohn, everybody got better with his arrival in Jacksonville, with the exception of Trevor Lawrence, until about halfway through the year. And then suddenly it looked like Trevor Lawrence had raised his game to where everybody else had, except Brian Thomas Jr., I guess, but everybody else, running back, offensive line, like everything was better when Cohen arrived, except really Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. And then Lawrence, the switch flipped, and he was playing out of his mind for the second half of the season. If that was real, and now again you get to work with Liam Cohen, one of the best offensive minds in the game, and they can just continue that through into this season. Maybe Brian Thomas Jr. gets better. Maybe Travis Hunter is just healthy for the whole season. There's definitely a world where Trevor Lawrence could put up an MVP season.
Yeah, I thought they were the best team in the AFC going into the playoffs, Sam. I mean, the Bills took them down in the wild card game, and Lawrence had some weird moments in that game. Mike has pointed them out over the course of the many months there. It was a fourth down run where he just sort of went down a little too easy, that really cost him. It was in the red zone, in the Bills' red zone. But that team to me seemed. I mean, I could buy in that division. It depends on what Houston is, and if Stroud can get over the lousy play that you mentioned already in those playoff games.
Yeah, and Stroud is another guy who's capable of that kind of season as well. We've sort of seen that from his rookie season. It's just that if anything, he's been heading in the wrong direction from that point onwards. His playoffs were concerning. They were awful. But yeah, look, I think. Again, it's a wide open picture. I mean, I don't think people really expected Stafford to win it last season, and he had one of the best years of his career. Obviously, Drake May, people expected him to take a step forward, but I don't think anybody expected him to be amongst the MVP favorite. So I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that have – we were talking about, there's kind of the established 4 quarterbacks, I guess, at the top that everyone sort of agrees are the best QBs in the NFL: Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. And then, like, the next 10 may not necessarily be interchangeable, but any of those 10 guys, I think, are capable of having that MVP season. Even guys like Darnold, who people will complain, well, why is Darnold not on a top 10 list? But yeah, but there's 15 guys in that group, right? And any one of them is capable of stringing together like an outstanding season in the right situation, and suddenly they're MVP, but probably can't back that up the following season. And that's, I think, what separates, guys like Josh Allen or, these other quarterbacks, is they're able to back that up year after year after year. The other guys are maybe capable of having, even Stafford even with the Rams, has sort of had an amazing year and then a down year and then an amazing year. Like, he's bounced up and down.
Sam, thank you. A treat as always. Good luck with that grill or whatever it is, bench, grill.
Grill cabinet, I believe.
Grill cabinet,
Yeah.
the Allen wrenches and whatnot. Hopefully you find some serenity here with you got your parents and you've got this project.
Nightmare. I gotta go back. It's even worse. I'm building it outside in, the 90-degree heat as well. It's not even inside. Brutal.
Good. Well, hopefully this was some respite. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Anytime, guys. Stay easy.
Sam Monson. Check the mic. Sam and Steve Palazzolo. It's a kind of a theme on this show. Sam, Trista, the parents get involved, and there's stuff to do, and it's just not. I think it's kind of easy to make fun of it, but it can be very stressful.
Sure.
I've got to build this grill cabinet right now.
Yeah.
The instructions don't make sense, but hey.
That's the worst if step one is wrong, like he said.
Yes.
You're in it, you're going, and you realize I got to disassemble this entire project and start over because this thing is backwards.
That was my nightmare last spring with the new mower, because here comes this new riding mower in a box.
Right.
And it's up to me to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
And, you've got that thick instruction manual, even though 90% of it is just in different languages.
Sure. But still,
the same
it's
thing.
Pretty comprehensive.
But if I miss up front, I'm going to have to undo everything, and that scared me. But we got that done. I've driven over things a couple times where I've needed repairs. That I'll admit. A dog leash hook.
Yeah.
And a lacrosse net, that base, the frame of the lacrosse net. A couple times I've been a little sloppy, but we got it built. So far, so good in that phase of my life. Sam Monson, 803-0550 for your calls on the upcoming Bills season. Camp's still mostly like a week away. We've got rookies reporting tomorrow. We talked some Sabres and Connor Hellebuck. Not that there seems to be anything new on that earlier today as well. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Lines are open for your calls. This is WGR.
Buffalo Bills rookies report to training camp tomorrow. The vets are going to follow a little bit later for them. That's going to be next Tuesday. No teams, though, have rookies reporting today. Joining the Bills, though, tomorrow is going to be the Panthers, Texans, Dolphins, and Patriots. Speaking of teams reporting, though, the Seahawks, they had players who are recovering from injuries reporting today, and they have placed Nick Emenwari, Kenny McIntosh, and Tyrone Broden on the physically unable to perform list. McIntosh and Broden both were knowingly dealing with injuries to end last year, but at this time, it is unclear what Emenwari is dealing with. And then we do have a contract signing today. The Packers bringing in defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt to a 3-year, $57 million extension with a $20 million signing bonus. And then in baseball tonight, Yankees host the Pirates and the Jays have Tampa in town. Both those just after 7 o'clock is when they'll start. And then at 7:40, the Mets are at Milwaukee. But something else to keep an eye on, the Red Sox. They're hosting Baltimore at 7:10. Boston currently riding a 13-game winning streak. And that is the club's longest since 1948. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Unfortunately for, the new regime, the new coaching staff, you get put in that position by what went before you. It's not your fault, but now your task, unlike most coaches who are fired, your task is not to turn around a bad franchise and make them viable and then make them good. Your task is to take a team that's already good and take one final step and make them the best team in the NFL. And if that was easy, the last guy wouldn't have been fired.
Sam Monson returns. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. If you're watching and unclear, Bulldog is the guy in the purple shirt, no purple hat to go with.
No purple hat.
This time.
I'm not making that mistake again. No.
And I am here in a Scott Fishbowl 9 T-shirt and a Duke visor.
That blue matches.
That's the
there,
thesis of the play.
I've not worn the purple hat since I had the purple T-shirt, purple hat fiasco.
Purple T-shirt, purple hat gate, as it's known.
Yeah. It really literally, it's not like I didn't look in a mirror before I left the house, but seeing me on the stream that day, I was just like, I look like Grimace. This is ridiculous.
I think, yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's the right question. I think I need to recalibrate when it comes to my visor choices. Like, this is a Duke visor, right?
Yeah, why,
Duke University, North Carolina. Heard of it?
Yeah. Mostly, I wonder why you'd want to be repping Duke.
My wife was there a month ago and brought home a Duke visor.
She knows you like it. That's thoughtful. You wear visors. You like visors.
I do. And the blue works. I mean, if this had been like my Blue Jays T-shirt, almost the same color, I would not be wearing a visor with it because that's ridiculous. Duke and Blue Jays. Just pick a team.
Yeah.
Pick a lane. But more and more often, just going to lacrosse tournaments and just being out and having conversations with people, I'm having it happen that people will ask me, even people I don't know, oh, you're a Pirates fan.
Right.
Because I have a Pirates visor on.
Yeah.
And I'm honest with them. I'm like, no, I just have a black T-shirt on. Something that would go with the Pirates visor.
And I went to Pittsburgh and got a visor as a souvenir, maybe.
Well, yeah. Well, okay, you're drawing a line between like having my wife go to a place and my going to a place. That's fine too.
Yeah, I was just merely mentioning like why do you have are you a Pirates fan? No, I went there and I want
yes,
yeah,
that's my story.
Yeah,
but I think I'm glad you're sitting down for this. I think people, if they see you wearing a sports team logo, think you're a fan of that team.
I got destroyed on this video feed for wearing an Orioles cap last year because I've been a Red Sox fan my whole life. Like most of the audience that listens to us with any kind of regularity knows that.
Big game tonight.
Would remember that. And I had people that I would consider friends like at me, like, how can you do that? I'm like, I like the hat. I like the logo. I like the colors. That's it. I started collecting these new era flat brim 5950 caps. I might have 20 of them now.
Wow.
And the Oriole, that logo, the little cartoon Oriole, always appealed to me. So I like the orange. I'm getting a hat.
Not the ornithologically correct Oriole.
Right. Like this is the dopey cartoon Oriole it's got the orange brim. It's a good looking hat to me. And so I wear that.
You're not wearing it today.
I'm not wearing it today. It would have really clashed with the purple, I think.
And you're playing them.
That's also correct. Yeah. But I'm also not wearing my Red Sox. I'm not wearing a hat at all.
Don't you think, though, I mean, I know this is really groundbreaking stuff, but don't you think maybe you or I, thinking more for myself, like I should be wearing sports logos of teams that I like, if there are those teams anymore? Like the visor I wear the most often is my Sabres one, which could have been fine here today.
Sure,
with this.
That would have worked.
Because, all else equal,
yeah,
they're a team that I like. Duke is not, but I'll, rotate through 20 or 30 other ones. Maybe it's time to grow up. Maybe it's time to just wear teams you like so that people like that. That's why you wear. That's why normal people wear what they wear sports wise.
But
this is my team.
I think that the opposite is true. I think only wearing the gear of the team you like is what you do when you're a little kid. I think when you get older and your aesthetic evolves, you think about, listen to me defending my Orioles cap now. I
wasn't expecting this.
I just think about it differently. I mean, this started, I now have 3 of these hats that are Sabres caps. I've worn all 3 of them, when they were playing. I'm not wearing hats. It's too hot. I wear a hat when I'm golfing to, shield the sun, but otherwise I'm not walking around with a hat on.
When you're done with your round, by the way, do you take your hat off and run your hand through your hair?
I'm very careful to not do that.
It's the worst.
But so the first of these hats, when I realized I liked these caps, this style of cap with I got a big head, I got a big beard, and like the flat brim cap that works on my head. So I got a couple of Bills ones, and I really liked them. And then, how Facebook works or whatever, any social media, like I ordered some New Era caps, so now I'm getting New Era, and it's Buffalo. It's a bunch of Bison's caps. I'm like, oh, I like all those. The Bisons are Buffalo's baseball team, but they're not one of my favorite teams. I mean,
they got to be your favorite minor league team.
Sure, and it's Buffalo, but it's not like that's what sort of those hats. I liked the style. I liked how they looked aesthetically. I'm going to buy those hats, and I'm going to wear those hats. And that sort of broke the dam on style over like rooting interest, and that's how I ended up with this Orioles cap that was
okay.
I'm going to go with, because we're on the radio, so controversial last summer when I wore it. And so I think I'm mostly about, like, how does it look? Not, is it somebody that I'm going to go home tonight and watch at 7:07? I mean, I don't know. I'm not doing it that way anymore.
Well, I think you'd have a little bit of life left for this series, though.
Oh,
They've
sure.
won 13 straight.
They won 13 straight.
Baltimore's won 7 straight.
18 out of 20, even. You go back. Like they've been hot since they swept the Yankees, and that was quite a while ago now.
So long ago.
Yeah. So, I'm alive with them now.
It's kind of big.
I'm going, I bought tickets to go see, Owen and I are going to go to Pittsburgh to see the Red Sox play in mid-August, and when I bought those tickets, they were left for dead. And I went, whatever, it's a baseball trip. I'm just gonna go to see some baseball. Sort of like the hat thing. I don't care who's playing. I'm going to go to Pittsburgh for a couple of ball games with my kid, and it's gonna be fun. But like now, the games look like they may matter on both sides. Actually,
both sides.
Pittsburgh is in a race.
They're good too.
Yeah,
they're hitting. They're like the best offense in baseball. The Pirates.
Yeah, right.
Pirates at Yankees tonight. That game's got to be on somewhere.
It's on. It's on our stream with the Pittsburgh Sports Net or whatever. So I'm planning. I looked at the schedule. I saw Baltimore and Boston were playing. I looked at my streamer carrier. I didn't go looking all over the place. So if there's like a Monday Night Apple thing or something, someone please tell me, or I'll look.
Not Monday.
That I knew Pittsburgh Yankees for sure. There's like 3 games we'll have access to, and that's the one I'm going to watch.
Will they give us both feeds? because they're both on Fubo. Yes.
That's a great question.
Sportsnet, Pittsburgh.
I didn't see Yes listed on the Fubo app, so I wonder if it's maybe a different. Maybe they're on somewhere else tonight. Maybe.
I mean, I'm a big David Cohn fan. I never know who the analysts are going to be on a Yankee broadcast, but listening to him on Yamamoto yesterday was really good. I mean, just what a artist Yamamoto is. Pittsburgh at the Yankees, Baltimore, Boston, and the Jays have Tampa tonight in Toronto.
After Boston got done drilling them.
Yeah. Did you know that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has not hit a home run at home since the ALCS?
No, I definitely did not know that.
That includes the World Series. I mean, he was good in the World Series.
Yeah.
He homered in L.A., I think. It wasn't like he had a bad series, as far as I remember it. He has not homered at home this year. He has 6 home runs this year. That's a good week for Ben Rice.
He mostly played him. He hasn't missed a lot of time or anything?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Huh.
He has 6 home runs.
Where does power go? Did he get thin again?
I don't know. 94 games. 6 homers. None at home this year. He skipped the All-Star game because his back was bothering him. But he was back this weekend with the Jays. I mean, that's brutal.
Yeah,
what's up with that guy?
That's really, and that was just before last season that the huge contract got signed.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a consensus answer on that.
Yeah,
but I know the White Sox were up there this past weekend, and the Friday night game was an Apple game, so I watched some of that. That's not why I did, but it happened to be. Otherwise, I don't think I would have had it. And they wore those black softball uniforms, the Blue Jays. Everybody's got to love those, just all black. Exactly the aesthetic you want. Not even the White Sox.
I feel like
the White Sox are looking great.
Like I'm watching sports, and there's things I'm learning just in the last couple of minutes that I did not know. I did not know this about Guerrero, and I did not know that the Blue Jays had a black kit.
All black with sort of flashy red and blue numbers and letters. And they got crushed. They lost 2 out of 3. But yeah, that's when I heard that Guerrero does not have a home run at home all season. 94 games.
Well,
brutal season.
Not 94 games in Toronto, but
no,
still,
maybe half.
He's played 94 games. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he has 6.
Yeah,
not great. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. There's your baseball schedule. It's Monday, so the Bisons won't play, but they are home all week to Rochester this week, starting tomorrow. Thanks for listening. We'll look for your calls after this timeout here on WGR. So, give or take, I lost about $100 on the World Cup in the end. Loved it all. Had a couple wins. Had that survivor pool where I made it to the semis with France and England and busted because they both lost.
Yeah.
I mean, either one of them losing would have been it. So that was disappointing. I mean, survivor pools are so much fun, but you're always seemingly running up against people who have just max entry'd it, and like it's tough to overcome that because those people get to the end of the tournament and they can just bet against themselves, and maybe it's a group of people.
It's tough times for a little mom and pop shop like you, like startup
mom and pop show. And then we had the work thing where I had it down. I had Argentina. Like I was going to win it if Argentina had won. Can't really complain when you get outshot 20-0 and don't win.
Yeah.
But what I did to hedge, this is classic. What I did to hedge was, so I got to have some Spain here. It's a nice little payout if Argentina wins it. Let me get a little Spain. Spain was favored. So to win the game, Spain was minus 160. Like, well, I'm not doing that. I mean, that's not my style at all. No. Minus 160.
No.
So instead, plus 125 Spain to win in 90 minutes, which they didn't.
No.
They scored in injury time, or not injury time, extra time.
Extra time.
All these extra times.
The second half of
extra
time, right, yeah.
Extra time. So loss. Lost on the survivor going into yesterday, lost because Argentina lost, then lost on Spain in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
L's up and down.
I was out I had $20 at the bar, 25 in the thing here, 45. I don't think I wagered at all before yesterday, but I did a Tage Thompson hat trick bet with Yamil Lamal.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
What would that have paid?
$5,000. It was big.
Did he ever score in the tournament? Maybe one?
He scored one goal in the tournament. I thought you love the process. Argentina's vulnerable. Everybody was saying it all tournament long. They can be had back there. And the picture of Messi with the baby Lamar, it's hand the torch over time. So here we go. No.
No. No.
I mean, big long shot, of course. That's how I like it. I've said it a dozen or more times. I'd rather lose 10 than win 12.
Good riddance, Argentina.
Yeah.
They were not easy to root for. Messi only.
They were kind of goony.
Yes. And it's always with soccer, of course, these just both teams, every team, ridiculous overreactions to anything. But even this number 5 after the game yesterday is going off. And what's that red card worth when you get a red card after the tournament is over? Does that?
I don't know.
Is there a fine? What happens with that? Can he not play game 1 in 4 years? What happens with that? The next World Cup is in Argentina. And maybe Messi, who will be in his 40s. Then,
right?
Will he play? That'll be talked about.
There was doubt about him playing this time, so
that's right. 39.
Kind of doubt that he's going to do it again, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean they were just really aggressive, and that's just kind of like a better version of Paraguay, where they're just murdering you, knowing that you can't call everything.
Right.
I mean, good riddance. Great tournament. Had a lot of fun. Sorry it's over. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. We'll be right back.
Teams' rookies are beginning to report to training camp for the Bills. They've got to just wait one more day. Rookies going to report tomorrow, while the Bills vets report next Tuesday. No teams, though, have rookies reporting today. Joining Buffalo tomorrow is going to be the Panthers, Texans, Dolphins, and Patriots. But we do have some news from teams that already do have players reporting. That is the Seahawks. They have placed Nick Emenwari, Kenny McIntosh, and Tyron Broden on the PUP list. McIntosh and Broden were both dealing with injuries to end last year, but at this time it is unclear what Emenwari is dealing with. Over in baseball, Yankees host the Pirates and the Jays have Tampa in town. Both those ones are going to get started just after 7, while at 7:40 the Mets are at Milwaukee. And then something else to keep an eye on, the Red Sox. They're hosting Baltimore at 7:10, and Boston currently riding a 13-game winning streak. That is the club's longest since 1948. And the Open Championship did wrap up this weekend, thus also ending the major season in golf. Ryan Fox taking the win. We'll talk with Brian Koziel in just about an hour at 6 for more on what we saw this weekend and in the major season. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
You might be mocking me or you might be staunchly agreeing with me. I can't tell.
I'm mocking you.
And the Bulldog.
What is Fozzie Bear's role in this production?
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Fozzie Bear. The Muppets.
The Muppets.
Halftime yesterday. The Muppets.
I didn't...
Get it?
Shockingly, I've done no research on this whatsoever. What?
Uh-oh.
Why the Muppets?
Why not? Next.
Okay, that's good, fine. I guess you could say, why Madonna? Right? Why Ronaldinho? Whatever.
I wouldn't say that, though.
You're right. I don't know. The Muppets just seemed... That was a very...
You don't think they fit in?
I just thought it was an odd... The whole thing was a little bit like a hallucinogenic experience.
I loved it.
I enjoyed it. I just didn't really understand what the Muppets were. The only thing I just didn't really get.
Of all things,
the Muppets. Like, why?
I thought you were a Muppet guy.
What's the? I'm fine with the Muppets, but like, what? Why? Like, what's the tie-in? I just didn't.
What is the tie-in?
Didn't really see it. I was a little perplexed by that.
World's game.
Yeah.
Do they know the Muppets in faraway places? Do they know the Muppets?
This is a question that I think if I had done an ounce of prep, maybe I would have an answer for you.
Far-reaching are the Muppets? I think probably global.
Probably.
It's been half a century, right? At least.
But the band is not exactly, like, I don't know.
What band? The Muppet Band?
The Muppet Band.
Like
Animal and what's her name? I don't know her name. But like Kermit and Miss Piggy and like there's a whole, the stars of the Muppet movie.
Muppet ranks.
Are like
Muppet Draft.
Are like they are probably iconic enough to be known in, wherever. The band is a little more niche, I think. I didn't really, I don't know. It was just a strange fit to me. I mean, you get all those people out there. You get the Muppets covering Jack White or the Whites. Let's just get Jack White.
Maybe cost more.
Yeah.
Muppets probably aren't cheap, though.
And you gotta they gotta
pay the Muppet estate,
the puppeteers, the whatever.
Yes.
There's stuff that goes into that.
There is a lot. I think probably a lot. Yeah. Well, you're back, and before you were back, I was back. Now we're both back. We have camp on the horizon. No Muppets.
No Muppets.
No Jack White. No Madonna. No anything. Just camp. Not exactly like it used to be, though, either.
No, they're
Two-a-days,
in and out of there.
Pads.
They're barely there.
Camp is like a week long.
Right.
Something close to that.
It's
barely more
a
than
week
a week.
Plus a couple days, maybe. Yeah, right.
Crazy. Sometimes this happens when it gets closer with any team, with any fan. Have you found yourself changing, like becoming more optimistic for the Bills, or I guess maybe even less so in the time off? Like here we are about to get into the day-to-day pretty soon. And for the most part this summer, I think you would say like you're a little bit maybe under consensus
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah.
A little bit worried.
That it hasn't really changed.
Why would it?
Well, I don't know. You know, it happens. You get closer to it. You sort of, if you're an optimistic sort of person, you can sort of start constructing a more optimistic view. I'm not overly pessimistic. I'm more just sort of, okay, I sure, everything's going to be just like it's always been. All right, I hope you're right. Like, I'm certainly not closed off to that being right. I'm not just assuming that everything just goes. I mean, the I don't know, noise is not the right way to put it, but just thinking about the defense and some of the things that I've read and heard about the defense, this makes me feel like that is going. Like, I feel like they don't lead with it, but it's in there. Like, well, you know, we're not really gonna have all our guys. You know, like I just think it's going to take a little time to overhaul an entire defensive system, and I don't think they've got all the guys they want, maybe in the spots that they want them, and so I'm a little nervous about that. But that doesn't have to sink them, right? The next thing I'll say, or maybe someone will say to me if I'm in a conversation with someone about this, is that might not even be the worst thing that could happen to them. If their defense is a little more susceptible and they're in games where they've got to go, then maybe that'll serve them well. Maybe their passing game will, well, look more like a passing game should look when Josh Allen is the man at the trigger.
You know what's interesting about that? Because that's just sort of the natural repercussions of getting scored on, is you've got to pick it up. I wonder how they'll start games going into the season. If they'll be like they've had so much success being the other thing on offense. Would they anticipate? You have tough teams too right away. Like, would they anticipate needing to be faster, bigger, downfield stuff on offense going into games, going into the season? If so, then you'll notice it before they get behind. You'll see like, okay, well, they have a different philosophy here. And I think with that, maybe this is a miss, but imagine you're Brady and look, you've got the job. You don't need to look over your shoulder. But I think one of the big topics about him is whether or not the Bills played the way if he had full authority, wanted them to play. Like, I think fans, and this is a lot of people, who are hoping what you're saying happens, where they just sort of end up being more Josh Allen-centric. You're kind of hoping that Brady sees it the same way, and that's really to be determined. I mean, how did he get the job?
Running the ball like crazy.
Yeah, leading the league.
Yeah.
So is he going to – do we really think this is a top 5 question about them, maybe even top 3.
Top 1.
Top 1. Like, right.
Yeah.
Is he going to basically wink at everybody like, you guys were right? This is I want to open it up. You know, there are reasons to want to do that. I'm not sure DJ Moore, however, is enough of a difference maker for Brady or anyone to think that they can get away with it. I mean, part of that equation has always been that they don't have the weapons for it. I mean, they've made it work. Despite everybody out here complaining about their lack of talent at receiver, they've made it work. Does DJ Moore really change that? That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
In their eyes.
And I think the entire I love this subject, and I'm sure we will talk about it for like days and weeks and months even. We still have months leading up to the season, right? Because like the idea is what? What is the idea? That Sean McDermott wanted things done a certain way, and whether he was over Brady's shoulder about it or Brady just sort of inherently knew, like he had instructions, he knew how to make it work that his boss would be satisfied with his choices, and so he chose accordingly, right? He wanted to pass the test as much as have a successful offense, and they had a successful offense. I mean, they've scored like crazy these 2 years that they ran the ball so heavily. I think it depends from a fan perspective. To some degree, it depends on whether you are of the opinion that McDermott was holding him and therefore them and therefore Allen back, or were they savvy? Was McDermott savvy and Brady savvy enough to recognize that sort of we talked about this with Sam Monson an hour ago? Like the league changed. Explosive passing plays. Did you see the tweet from Warren Sharp today about the numbers, receiver numbers across the board at like 10-year lows last year? Like average, everything was just down. So it's not like the Bills irresponsibly decided to run the ball. I think they decided, all right, even though we've got Josh Allen and even at the time still had Stephon Diggs, I just keep throwing, just banging our heads against the wall here. We need to find a different way to move the ball that hopefully can complement Allen's skill set and will still have room for these pass plays and explosives and all this stuff. But if you think McDermott was holding them back, then you might think Brady's going to go insane this year and Allen's going to throw for 5,000 yards. But that ignores what the reason I think they did. I think they didn't do it because McDermott hated passing or hated points. They did it because functionally that was the best way they thought they could move the ball. And they got a lot of company in that respect, I think, in the league now. And so I don't think McDermott's removal just means Joe Brady can put on his best Hawaiian shirt and a straw hat and just be like, okay, it's Air Coryell time. The league is still the league, and defenses are still defenses. So I don't know, man. There's two separate points here. If they get dragged into it because their defense can't stop people, that's one thing. But when you mentioned how they're going to start games, how do they want to play? I wonder. I really wonder. I would almost expect them to try to do what they've been doing.
Me too.
Because it's worked.
Totally.
And if they, I guess I'm saying it's maybe a little backwards, but if they can't stop people well enough, they might have to figure out how to have I keep saying lean on Allen. I mean, that's almost the wrong phrasing because they lean on Allen like crazy. It's lean on the passing game, the passing part of Allen's game by necessity, and maybe that is something that magically opens up all of the potential they've always had, and they can finally get there. But I don't know. I'm not sitting here thinking Sean McDermott's gone. Yay, they're going to throw the ball 60% of the time. I think you're not reading the room very effectively if you think that. That's my opinion. I think it was always overstated to me, how much. That's why I noticed last year when McDermott, the first blip last fall of there maybe being he doesn't like how he's being perceived, perhaps, right? The way people talk about him and even to him, because this was a news conference where someone asked him a question saying, "We all know you love to run the ball," and he's like, I never said that.
He may have.
He wanted to make. He made a point of saying I don't want Sean McDermott loves to run the ball in a story anywhere. He wanted to distance himself from that, and that could also just be for his own self-preservation. I don't know, but I just think they ran it because they felt it was the best thing they could do. And considering the weapons that they had on the outside, I think it's probably pretty right.
Well, they built it intentionally. I mean, not that everybody necessarily was in agreement on everything they did, but they built it to be like that. I mean, the Jackson Hawes.
The third tight end. Yeah, right.
They built it. As much time as we've spent complaining about it, it's not easy to go get a number one receiver. They did draft for it, or they tried to, if you include Kincaid, 2 years in a row, and, kind of failed. They didn't draft Jackson Smith and Jigba, for example, right?
Right.
So it's easier this way, and the timing was good. I don't know. I'm one of those people that felt differently about McDermott over the years, too. I don't really mean it as a criticism, but it's neither a compliment. That did he go down that road when Allen took off, being sort of a team on offense built around Allen and Diggs, kicking and screaming? Maybe not. But I think, ironically, he leaves a team that is exactly what he wanted to look like, I think, on offense. Not defense, really. I mean, he was, of course, a defensive coordinator. But I think in the last 2 years, the Bills became a team that he dreamed of, where you still have an MVP. I mean, he won an MVP, Allen, one of those 2 years. But a team that can strike, lightning.
If I need this guy to kill you, he can kill you.
Yeah, but they didn't load up on weapons for him. I think probably it's to their credit that they didn't just go down trying to be a team that was like the Bengals or some team where they had elite talent. It all kind of made sense. I said last week at one point, you got to give them credit for shifting in that direction at a time when teams were beginning to do that.
Right.
And they were, like you said earlier today, I mean, they were kind of early to it, but it worked out. I mean, they dominated on the ground. So whatever is right about McDermott is in the past anyway. Like, it's just a way of trying to predict what it will look like now.
Yeah, how much different is it going to be now on offense that Joe Brady does not have? I mean, he still has bosses, but he doesn't have a boss on the coaching staff. He's the boss. So he answers to, his peers, sure, but like he's got to please himself and, Brandon Beane and Terry Pagula, but like he doesn't have, he's not going to have a coach walking in the room going, "Why did you do that when you should have done this?" or whatever.
No, he'll have Sal for that.
He'll have Sal or he'll have himself and like whatever kind of, but it's just it's a different dynamic. But I don't think that alone means, and even the addition of DJ Moore means that they're just going to shift away from that. I think part of the idea all along has been, man, I can remember talking with Sal about this when Mahomes and Allen were first sort of hitting the beach here, like just sort of like, oh my gosh, look at these, look at Mahomes. He was first, right? He just the numbers, the touchdowns. It was like, oh my God, what an era we're living in. And now we got one of those guys too. Wow, it's so incredible. And it did not have a very long shelf life, and it started changing, and they reacted to it well. All of that doesn't go away just because Sean McDermott isn't here anymore. Like, defenses are still going to try to take away Allen and downfield and let you run. I mean, how did, say what you will about McDermott, but how did his defenses play the Chiefs? You can run it all day. I don't care. We're going to try to stop that and didn't do great at that either. But like the idea was, we're going to make sure you can't kill us the easy, the faster way. It's going to take a little longer and all that sort of stuff. But the idea, I think, has been like the yin and yang, right? Like we're ushering out a explosive passing era into a more run-heavy era, and eventually, if defenses, well, I want to say if they're not smart, if they react to that by putting big people back on the field, then you get your passing games back. This is a very entry-level analysis, okay? But like that's the idea, I think. But it's still, teams are just going, yeah, I'm not putting the big people back out here. Go ahead and run it. I want to make sure Mahomes and Burrow and Allen and Jackson can't beat me throwing it 40 yards over my head.
Had a couple of interesting conversations last week about this. One with Rich Rebar on Thursday from Warren Sharp's website. Just like, is there any, we're talking about, do you expect like the Bills to change tendencies walking in to the season? And we both kind of don't. And would you expect the league to revert? I mean, have they drafted for it? Not really. Like, it doesn't look like we should expect bonkers passing numbers going into 2026, but who knows? Respect for, looking back instead of forward here, that the Bills have won at least one playoff game 6 years in a row. I don't need to invoke the drought. You don't even really need to do that, I think, to appreciate how good that is. No, it's not a Super Bowl, but the all-time NFL record for consecutive years with at least one playoff win is 8. I mean, they are 2 seasons away from tying the all-time NFL record with seasons with at least one playoff victory. 6 years in a row. And they've done great. Just It almost feels I'm a little bit self-conscious even saying that because, I don't know, no one cares anymore. Now you just have to top that.
Right, and someone's waiting to knock on your door to tell you that it was Skylar Thompson one year or whatever.
There's some of that.
Mason Rudolph, that kind of thing.
There's some of that.
Yeah.
There's also Lamar Jackson and Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Jackson twice.
The Warren Sharp tweet I mentioned from earlier today. In 2025, he says, wide receivers last season across all teams in the league. Fewest receiving yards per game since 2003. Fewest receptions per game since 2008. Lowest target rate since 2017. Worst success rate since 2017. Also, the NFL used 3+ wide receiver set rate the least since 2014. That is evidence of how are the Bills doing it? They got a lot of company. It's just not, the days of Beasley, Brown, and Diggs and Knox, I guess it would have been then. That's not how teams are doing it. At least not as much as they were even just a couple years ago.
Well, get ready for a serious uptick in defensive holding.
Right.
And illegal contact. We got to get the points back. We got to get the the NFL has got to get its mojo back here. Let's go. None of this ground and pound being the new normal, even for the good teams. Can't have that. Zach is with us. Hello.
Hey, guys. So every offseason, I've got a buddy who puts out a spreadsheet asking our friends to kind of forecast the season ahead, how many wins, how many losses. And I've been kind of down on them. I think I picked maybe 11-6 or 10-7 for this upcoming season. And listening to you guys talk, I kind of start to question why I even think that. On paper, I feel like the offense should be better. A healthier Kincaid that apparently is bulking up. A DJ Moore who is another wide receiver threat, certainly not the top echelons of the league, and enough changes on defense. Bradley Chubb is a world beater, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, just some different attitudes there. And now I feel like my opinion's kind of flipped on them. I don't know what my reasoning would be to be so down on them because, you've got your former OC who, they've had pretty good success with, is now leading the team. And I don't know. I feel like my opinion has kind of optimized, if you will, here on the guys. And I don't know. I think they're kind of, I don't know if they're going to go 14-3, but I could see 12-5 pretty easily now. And I think this team should be better, hopefully.
Zach, at the beginning of this conversation, something like this, what did I say to Bulldog to open it? It's closer, so are you more optimistic? I think that sort of happens.
That's what I think happened to this caller.
Hope season.
Yeah.
But it's not
just fine.
Crazy at all.
I'm not judging it. I mean, I've done it. I've done it sitting in this chair dozens of times, I'm sure. About early in the drought, it was like an annual rite of passage. What needs to go right? And then halfway through the drought, it's sort of I can't even do that anymore. No. I'm not piecing together if this and that and whatever, blah 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 blah. No.
Sabres, same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, for sure. There's a point in time where you just can't get there anymore. And, we're here with the Bills at a moment in time where all they've done is win 11 or 12 games every year. But I think the changes, I want to respect the changes and the opportunity for that to be some growing pains is all. I don't think they're falling apart. Far from it. So I don't want to ever sound like I'm pessimistic. Maybe I'm just not I'm not in line with the betting markets. Like I don't think they should. I don't feel like they're like the second best chance to win the Super Bowl in the AFC. I think it's a lot to assume all that with all the new that there is here.
It sounds like you're not in line either with reverse AFC power rankings, which returns tomorrow. Last week, Bills won.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got you out of here. That meant Jacksonville took a rise.
Who was third? Who was third wheel? Or did you and Zach just do it? Joe. Okay.
El Sneakitude. He was a big. He didn't want the Bills at 1, but it just worked out that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of reverse.
That's how it goes sometimes. Yep.
You
get what you get.
You get what you get. Like number 1 is the default champion, but Jacksonville moved up. I think we went Bills, Baltimore, Cincinnati. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's it. As I look over,
I like the Bengals getting some
room.
love. I'm big. I'm big on the Bengals.
Big Bengals guy.
Yep.
Thanks, Zach. 803-0550. For us, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, this is WGR.
rookies report to training camp. We actually did get some news today. We'll get to in a minute. For the Bills, their rookies are going to report tomorrow, along with Panthers, Texans, Dolphins, and Patriots. For the Bills, though, their vets are going to report next Tuesday. Now to what we found out today. The Seahawks, they're having players who recovered from injuries reporting today. And with that, they have placed Nick Emenwari, Kenny McIntosh, and Tyrone Broden on the physically unable to perform list. McIntosh and Broden were both knowingly having dealt with injuries to end last year, but at this time it is unclear what Emenwari is dealing with. In baseball, the Yankees host the Pirates and the Jays have Tampa in town. Both those ones are going to get going just after 7 o'clock, while at 7:40, the Mets, they are at Milwaukee. And then something else to keep an eye on, the Red Sox, they're hosting Baltimore at 7:10. Boston currently riding a 13-game win streak, the club's longest since 1948. And the Open Championship did wrap up this weekend, thus also ending the major season in golf. Ryan Fox takes the win, and we'll talk with Brian Koziel in about a half hour at 6 for more on what we saw this weekend. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
You know, coming in, I've built my way up to where I'm at now. My first year, I was a rookie, undrafted free agent. I was practice squad. And then my second, third, and fourth year, I was being able to be the jumbo tight end and really get out there and get my feet wet as, you know, how the NFL speed is, the play style. And so this year, I think I'm very confident being able to perform, especially with Shinoe at my left side and then Connor McGovern at the center. And so I'm very excited to go in there and really dominate, man, like the past O-linemen have done here. I think I'm ready to fill in the shoes for David Edwards.
Alec Anderson. One thing about the Bills that you really can't read too much into, their offensive line has been largely a strength for years. They've also been very lucky with injuries. Like that offensive line has not had too much to worry about up front. And, you know, guys get older. You lost Spencer Brown for a minute last year. If you think about the Houston game,
he was hurt to begin with, and like you saw, it was a strength that turned into a weakness in that game.
Right. Week 1.
Righto.
I have a baseball card with me today. Would you like to see it?
Sure.
What are you going to say?
I could say I already did.
It's a 1955 Jackie Robinson.
You showed it off when we walked in, and I caught a glimpse of it.
Yes.
So I did see it.
I brought it in the studio earlier to show Brad and Tim, both card guys in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned something from Tim. Now, I'm not as up on the hobby as I used to be. Good thing, right? Because I used to have a show about it.
Yeah, right.
So hopefully I was somewhat up on it when I had a weekly show about it. But he said, so this is a graded 1.5. 1 is the lowest. I mean, there's a grade like called authentic. Basically, if it's barely even the card. So it's real. That's 0.
Authentic.
Authentic.
So like a road-worn guitar that's all marked up.
It's a real card. It's not fake.
Right.
But it's not above, you know. There's authentic and then there's 1.
Its value is mitigated.
And he said, and I want to look into this, because this could be an interesting thing for people who collect. Grading is really expensive, and it takes forever, and it's just like, it's for years been really hard for me to just get off my butt when it comes to it, because you pay up front, and plus the big grading company gives you an upcharge if the grade is good. What a racket.
Yeah.
If it's a big card and they give it a good grade, they might charge, depending on how good, thousands more for the privilege of having it in the slab, and then you can resell it and everybody, wins. But come on. But that's how it works.
Yeah.
He said that, and he looked up an article somewhere, New York Times maybe or something, that people are now collecting what he referred to as the rainbow, which is any given card from 1 to 10. Graded in every grade from 1 to 10.
Oh, okay. So you've got an example of every, okay.
And, if that's true, I might be right on time because I've got some 1s.
Yeah.
And he said that 1s are like the toughest to find. I mean, 10s, if we're talking about cards from the 50s, like this card, if it even exists in a 10, is going to be worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars probably. Mine is a 1.5. It's okay. But I just sent it in months ago through my friend Jeff at Bases Loaded just to get it in a slab because then, maybe I could sell it if I wanted to. But he said people are collecting every grade 1 to 10 and that the ones are elusive. And we were talking for a minute during one of their breaks about the Ken Griffey, the famous Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie. And he's like, finding that in a 1 is really hard. Because, like Brad said this too. Like, how could it even be a 1? If it's defaced, you can't just sort of rip it up and send it in.
Right.
You're not getting the 1.
Right.
You can't write on it.
Right.
You're getting print defect. You're getting ink stain.
Can't
You're
X
getting
out the guy's eyes like Paul used to do.
Right. That would not be a 1. That would be an authentic.
I love any day I get a chance to mention that.
Yes. We should make a point of mentioning it every day. This was a sitter. Today
right.
was a
So
sitter.
you can't, because you can't, I mentioned the guitar thing. My son Leo he's built a few guitars now. The first guitar he built, he wanted to, there's a segment of the guitar world where road worn, like the Fender and Gibson, the big manufacturers have custom shops that they will pre-beat up the guitar for you. So it looks like it's been played by Keith Richards for 40 years on stage, right? It adds to the authenticity of it, and you pay through the nose for that. You know what you're doing a little bit. You can do some of that yourself. He researched how to do it, and the first guitar he built was a road-worn Telecaster that I'd say looks the part. Like, he did a good job. You can't do that to a card. You probably, anyway, how would you even do it?
That's what I don't know either.
Right. It seems like you can't cut it.
A card this old. This card is 71 years old. And, I mean, what's wrong? It's miscut. There's probably a crease. It's just sort of has everything wrong with it. I think it's really pretty.
But if you wanted, I agree. But if you wanted a card to look what do you want to take a pencil eraser to it? Try to just
I don't know.
Lighten the colors, make it less bright or something
the thought has never even occurred to me to make it worse.
Find one of these Griffey rookies and leave it on your patio, on your picnic table or something, and let the sun work on it for a summer and see
bleed
if
the colors out.
Turns it into a 1. Maybe that's the best you could do. I don't even know. Yeah, wow.
But it's so counterintuitive.
Yeah, right.
I want the nicest possible example and the best grade I can get. Why? I have a Griffey. I have a 9, but I have one in a 4. Maybe somebody wants that because they can't. It's not easy to come by.
Maybe they can't find a 4 even. Yeah, right.
It's kind of a fun thing to think about.
Do you know enough about this subject to answer whether the 1 is so hard to find? I mean, it would stand to reason that therefore the value of it is being driven up. Is that actually happening in the marketplace?
That apparently is the point. That's what he's saying. That he referenced some article. He showed it to me, but I had to leave.
People will pay more for the 1 than they would say for a 5.
Yeah, he says 1s are hot.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible. It is. It's funny.
1s.
But I thought of the guitar comparison because it kind of works in a certain way for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a $6,000 guitar that's all beat up. What?
Well, people buy jeans that way.
Yes, that's right.
Not houses.
Yeah. Not usually.
Cars.
Cars, no. Rat rods, the beat up cars. There's a cool niche in there for beat up cars.
Really?
Yeah. As long as they run, they're functional, but
that's key. That still matters.
Yeah.
I just brought this card in here today to show them because I think the 0.5 is funny. I think something being graded a 1.5 is funny. It still made it. I still got the 0.5.
Right. Somehow.
It's the Sabres charging that extra quarter when the lockout ended. We're not going to sell you $4 soda. It's got to be 4 1/4. They had to have that quarter. I'll never forget it. I'm like that. But the 1.5, some professional analyst examined this card and went, it's not quite a 1. Let's throw that 0.5
Nor
on
is
there.
it a 2.
It's definitely not a 2.
Right.
Maybe they know that this 1 phenomenon is this 1 craze.
Oh, right. They didn't want to. Yeah, right. Maybe
they punished me.
Yeah. They would have been.
We can't give them a 1.
Dropping a fortune in your lap by giving it a 1.
Right. Maybe it's all upside down now. I'll sell the 1 to buy a 2 and keep the profit and upgrade my collection. I'll sell the 1 to buy a 2. I don't know. Apparently, if you believe Tim, that apparently is a thing you can do.
I'm inclined to believe Tim.
I am too. Rocco is with us. Hello.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good, Rocco. Thanks.
Thank you. Actually, to add to the conversation, I wish I would have kept my Mike Bossy and Gilbert Perreault rookie cards when I was a kid, knowing how much or perhaps what value those cards would be today. And I think it was the original card manufacturer. I think it was Opeachy, right? But anyway, I wish I would have done that. Just to quickly pivot to a random thought I have. I'm going to refer to the halftime show that FIFA had yesterday. I thought I was absolutely impressed by the show and the thought put into it. And I just couldn't help but think what the NFL was thinking while watching that show and coming up with thoughts and ideas of how to top it. But for the first halftime show, I thought that FIFA put out there, I thought they did a great job. My second point is DJ Moore. I know that I've heard, he's not a top echelon receiver. He's not that Jamar Chase. He's not that CeeDee Lamb. I think we're underestimating how really good he is. I fully expect that this receiver will top 1,100 to 1,200 yards, get to close to 100 catches, and double-digit touchdowns. That's just my opinion. Selfishly, I have him in fantasy, so I hope he does that. But I really think that he's got a chance with Josh Allen and as his quarterback. The last point I want to make, and I know I'm going to go back to the receiver train, and going back to your points earlier, where the run is prominent because teams are taking away the pass. I'd love to do both offensively, and if I could get someone else, and I've always thought like Tyreek Hill, and I know he's not. There's some that are not fans of him outside of the football. But what about bringing back Stephon Diggs?
Not going to happen.
Compliment him. No. Okay. So anyway, I just thought I'd.
Yeah. Thanks. No. Good. Thanks. Not going to happen.
I would do it. I don't think they're gonna, but I got room for that. You want to tell me Stephon Diggs is on this team in Josh Palmer's spot? Like, if I'm open to signing Brandon Cooks as Josh Palmer insurance, I would just replace Josh Palmer with Stephon Diggs.
Well, do I have to say I only think it's not going to happen because I don't?
Yeah,
I'm not
no,
coming
right.
from
I also don't
Brandon
think it's
Bean telling me.
Right.
I mean, I guess it could. I do think Diggs plays in the league this year, and he hasn't signed with anybody else yet. I just can't. What a statement. Without McDermott, maybe I have to leave some small percent chance that they do it. But that doesn't even have to add up.
Yeah.
I like drafting Diggs because I think he plays.
Mm-hmm.
He's got these lawsuits apparently, but nobody seems to expect him to be suspended. And a team like Washington might be a good fit, or who knows? I mean, I doubt the Bills would want to bother at this point. He did have a 1,000-yard season last year.
Yeah.
After the injury on a new team. So there might be something left. Yeah, I guess I don't want to say I know it won't happen, but I think somebody else will want him more.
I'm with you. I don't expect the Bills to do it. I'm just saying I would open the door myself.
How much money? $10 million 1 year.
Fine.
I've quickly I haven't gone from 0 to 60. I've gone from 0 to 6% chance. I'm going from 0 to 6. I mean, are they all set at wide receiver? Who would say so?
God, no.
This guy, though, he's counting on 10, 1,210 from DJ Moore, or rather 100, 1,210 from DJ Moore. What do you want Diggs for? Like, what's Diggs then? Where they're just not going to run the ball at all? Like, if you think DJ Moore is going to have a 100 catch, 10 touchdown year, the yards will come with it because he's a downfield threat. I don't know. The guy went on for a long time, but he didn't exactly say, I want Diggs. So we just ended.
Right. Just wondered, should they open the door to it?
I think maybe he had a list of other things he wanted to bring up. Yeah, he didn't say, maybe he did, but he didn't say, I think the Bills should do it. If you think DJ Moore is all of that, which in fantasy would make him a top 5 wide receiver, he goes like wide receiver 27 or something like that. I mean, that would be incredible if he puts a year. He's one guy that I will want to talk about constantly because I can't figure out what to do. And enough people in fantasy tell me that they're sort of negative toward DJ Moore, and that's kind of the stance I've taken. Mike Dempsey comes on Friday. I put this to Mike Dempsey. He's like, oh, baby. What a steal.
He loves it, yeah.
And Mike is always good for something, a little bit, not contrarian necessarily, just different. As I said on Friday after talking to him, and I was excited about it. Like, okay, here's somebody who's excited to draft DJ Moore, which nobody else around me seems to be. All right, let's take a break. Brian Koziol coming up at 6. We'll talk about the golf tournament one last time, the Open Championship. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. mention this Jackie Robinson card. His widow, Rachel Robinson, turned 104, maybe yesterday.
I believe that's right. They were talking about it on the Yankee-Dodger game on Peacock last night.
Oh, well then. You caught that.
I did. I did catch that, yes.
Roger Clemens.
Rocket.
Right. Rocket. Oral Hershiser. Does he have a nickname?
The Bulldog, I think.
Yes, I think that's right.
Yeah. But
born in Buffalo.
No, he was called by his name, whereas every time the play-by-play guy addressed Roger Clemens, he called him Rocket. Which, whatever. I mean, it's a cool nickname.
They must be friends.
That guy seems terrified of him to me.
Jason Benetti?
Yeah.
You don't like him? You didn't like him last night?
No, I do not like
you
him.
And Sam, not Benetti fans.
Oh, Sam's got a Benetti problem?
He
Good.
does.
I'll look forward to bringing that up with him on Friday if I remember.
How many wins? Roger Clemens, Oral Hershiser, CC Sabathia.
Right.
Are all on that broadcast?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Rachel Robinson turns 104. Jackie Robinson, I think, was 53 when he died. But it says on this card he was 5'11 and 3/4. Come on, give him the extra quarter inch. Jackie Robinson.
That's 6 feet all day long.
Come on.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Brian Koziol after sports on WGR.
Training camp is just around the corner, and tomorrow, Bills rookies will report to camp. They, along with Panthers, Texans, Dolphins, and Patriots, again, going to have their rookies report tomorrow, while for the Bills vets, it's going to be next Tuesday. We do, though, have some news heading into camps. Seahawks, they have had players who are recovering from injuries reporting today, and they have placed Nick Emenwari, Kenny McIntosh, and Tyrone Broden onto the physically unable to perform list. McIntosh and Broden both dealing with injuries to end last season, but at this time, it's unclear what Emenwari is dealing with. But it should be noted at this time they can be taken off a pup whenever they pass their physical. To baseball, Yankees host the Pirates and the Jays have Tampa in town. Both those ones are going to get going just after 7. And then at 7:40, the Mets are at Milwaukee. But something else to keep an eye on, the Red Sox. They're going to be hosting Baltimore at 7:10. And Boston currently is riding a 13-game winning streak. That is the club's longest since 1948. And then the Open Championship. It did wrap up this weekend, thus ending the major season. Ryan Fox does take the win. And stay tuned, coming up next, we'll get more on what we saw this weekend. Brian Koziel joins the show. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
We were having a very serious conversation about mayonnaise here.
And the Bulldog.
And don't even talk to me about weed.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Does it surprise you to know that there was actually 2, but that the Baltimore Ravens played the Houston Oilers?
Yes.
It does me.
Yeah.
You're in purple, so I thought you'd like a Ravens reference. 1996, they were both in the AFC Central. The next year, the Oilers moved to Tennessee. 96, the Ravens and the Oilers played twice. Division rivals. Ronnie Harmon scored a touchdown for Houston in the first meeting.
In 1996. Okay, yeah. I mean, what was he, 87 draft? I don't remember.
Sounds right.
89 is the famous drop. So, yeah, okay, that's not crazy that he was still playing then.
I cannot picture him playing for the Houston Oilers.
No, I can't
I have no
picture
memory of
the
that.
Houston Oilers playing the Baltimore Ravens at all.
In the Astrodome. Week 3, 20,000 people. Think the fans maybe knew it was over?
Yeah, probably.
20,000 people in the Astrodome for a Oilers game against Baltimore. That's what happened.
Those are tough times. Yeah.
Tough times are one thing. Good times for Bulldogs, Boston Red Sox, and Brian Koziel's, dare I say it, Baltimore Orioles, who meet tonight to start a series in Boston. 13 straight for Boston, 7 straight for Baltimore. Brian, you're still an Orioles fan, right?
Yeah. I think it's
sure.
I call it more of a pastime than I do a passion anymore, but yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, then I won't wish your team luck. Bulldog really loves the Red Sox.
No, I'm more like Brian than I am like Love, I think. I mean,
Okay. All right.
I mean, they've got my attention. You know, that much is true.
13 straight.
13 straight, 18 out of 20, I think it is. Like it's been a hell of a run.
1948. The Red Sox last won 13 games in a row, and that team was bad as this team was for a while that year. They were 9 under at least. You remember 48 Red Sox?
If that's tied. What was the thing with Joe? Oh, it was home game. When Joe Morgan took over, they won like 21 in a row at home.
Oh yeah,
I think is what they did. Yeah,
that's not Joe Morgan like the Reds.
No, Walpole Joe, I think is what they. He was from Walpole, Mass.
Is that right?
Yeah, Walpole Joe.
You got me on that one.
All right.
Stumped. Well, Brian, sad to say it, but our major championship season in golf is over. At least the men, the 4 tournaments that we bet on, and an interesting year, culminating yesterday at the Open Championship with Ryan Fox. In terms of our bet, it was a good year to not be picking. McIlroy hit at the Masters, but after that, Aaron Rai, Wyndham Clark, and Ryan Fox. I think Fox, Brian, probably made a lot of fans. I guess maybe a winner will always do that, but the guy played so fast. And, I mean, he got some terrible luck yesterday, too, and still won it with a birdie at the last hole. I mean, that's good stuff.
Yeah, he played lights out down the stretch, birdieing 4 of his last 6 and just playing money on 18. I'm just amazing on 18. I love. He said afterwards that he goes, I turned to my caddy and said, I'm gonna win this. I'm gonna go and win this here, and deal with the repercussions if, going for it ends up making me lose essentially. So I like that he was going for it there and not maybe necessarily playing it safe. I mean, he had a perfect drive. I mean, an aggressive approach out into 18 that had been playing super hard. And when he first hit that putt, I thought maybe it was going to be short, but it ended up trickling in. And, he said afterwards, he's like, I was shaking so much inside. He goes, I don't know how I actually even hit that putt. I couldn't feel anything. So, but good for him in the sense that he was able to handle that adversity. Obviously for him, this is his career moment. But I also agree with you. He gained a lot of fans with pace of play, showing, look, you can play incredible golf, and it doesn't have to take forever to do it. So that piece, I think, is what has won some people over for sure. Hearing his stories about his dad being like essentially a World Cup rugby winner, and then his grandfather a cricket winner and all that sort of stuff. So, coming from kind of an interesting lineage where maybe he had some pressures as a kid too with what his parents and grandparents did, athletic success-wise. A pretty cool story. He won at the Canadian Open last year, and ironically enough, he beat Sam Burns, who he ends up beating again here. Him, obviously, Cam Young, I think officially we know is ahead of him on the score, but Burns seemed like the guy coming down the stretch that if it was going to be a guy that challenged him, it was going to be him. And Burns had the heartbreak at the U.S. Open. So there's some good storylines. I know, Mike, when you and I talked Friday, we talked about Young and Burns, kind of like these are the guys that if they win, and when we talk on Monday, we're not going to be surprised at all. We felt like it was their time, and it's Fox that kind of sneaks in between them both and ends up finishing really strong.
Great job by Young to get back in it. I mean, Saturday, I saw him miss a putt that was very, very makeable, and said to myself, all right, thanks for coming, Cameron Young. And then he shows up and he bogeyed, I think, 4 of the last 8 holes on Saturday. I mean, he just had a terrible time. Shot 73 or 78 even, whatever. He just had a bad day Saturday. So I thought he was done, and then to come out and shoot 64 was great. I saw Fox, I knew about the 62 to get back, above water in the tournament. I did not see the start of his round yesterday. I got there. The first thing I saw was him hit the lip of that bunker, I think at 15, Brian. And then he had to go backwards and just eat a bogey there. And then there's the almost kneeling bunker shot a couple of holes later. I mean, he really... So I texted Mike. Mike used to always reference his friend of his that called somebody like, that is one tough bozo. And that's all I kept thinking. This is one tough bozo. This guy just will not give in. And the pace of play thing obviously works too. But I just thought the shots he hit and the adversity that he faced was a lot.
Like Spawn last year, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
At the U.S. Open.
Yeah. In the weather too last year at the U.S. Open. Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah. If you look at after the first round, Fox was tied for 85th. I think I saw a stat today that said it was the biggest deficit after the first round that anybody's come back to win the Open ever. So, I mean, 85th, you're thinking, you're done, or you're playing on Friday to see if you could barely make it to the weekend. And as you said, he did. And then he shoots the 62, and now I'm in contention all of a sudden. As he becomes only the second guy ever to win to make a shoot a 62 and then go on to win. You think if you shot 62, we'd have more winners. I not that there's a ton of guys shooting 62, but pretty impressive that he flips it from 85th to barely making the cut to that amazing round. And now, on Sunday, he's obviously a part of the story.
Burns might have been the same thing. Who was he after the first day? 3 back, or 3 over rather, not 3 back, something like that. So it would have been maybe kind of the same story had he won. Is there, I hate to ask this, but is there a Burns, Young, Fleetwood, one of these guys that would be considered for the best player to not have one? I mean, you think about this is the Bills losing in the playoffs when Mahomes and Jackson aren't in it a little bit. Like, it wasn't that Scheffler just ran over everybody.
Right.
He didn't win one this year.
Rory or
anybody, I mean, right. McIlroy won the Masters and no Rahm, etc. Is there something about any of those guys that would be in that conversation this week at least that you would point to as, well, they weren't whatever to be good enough to win here? I know that seems pretty harsh, and maybe there isn't an answer. There probably isn't an easy answer to that, but basically, should one of these other top, 20 players in the world or whatever they are, maybe higher, have been able to come through?
It's probably, if you're going to pick one, it's probably Burns, that if there is a thought to that, that it would be him thinking, neither the two studs of the world, Scheffler or McIlroy, were in my radar. Not that they weren't in contention, they were, but ultimately in the end, Burns has a chance to win the U.S. Open. It's Clark that edges him out. If Burns has a chance to win here, it's Fox and Young that edge him out. So Sam Burns is probably maybe the one guy that if he looks back at the season and says, this was my opportunity with Mahomes not dominating. The Scheffler-McIlroy reference there, I think it's probably him. I know when we were previewing it, Mike, on Wednesday, we were saying, is it Fleetwood? Is it Hovland, the best current player that doesn't have a major? And probably Young and Burns are probably, with how just, I think, consistent they are here over the last two seasons, they probably would be in that discussion too. And because they now have also, and Young still would probably label a good season when he looks back at, he won the Players' Championship. So, I mean, that's a massive tournament to win other than winning one of the four majors. So, I think maybe, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing for any of these guys to be nipping on the doorstep here, but if they're going to be disappointed, I think maybe Burns has to have the most twice now. He had really, really legit chances to win, and neither one went his way.
And his story was really compelling. He wasn't even expecting to be participating in this tournament, but his wife they gave birth earlier than expected, and that opened up the opportunity for him to come. So he came, and he had the lead going into Sunday, and started badly, and that was, he hung around all day, but still, he killed himself at the start there, I think, probably. What can you tell us about what happened with Scheffler on 17, Brian? I did not see that. I heard it referenced. I've read about it. But it seems like a somewhat of a confusing ruling. And on a weekend when, the let off with the DeChambeau stuff from Friday, which I'm imagining you guys talked about, or did you know about it even Friday when you talked?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I didn't know how late that went into I know it delayed everything, but of course with the time change. What about the Scheffler situation? It seemed like he got a real benefit out of not being able to find that ball.
Yeah, I'm still a little unsure of the fact that they weren't able to find the ball, why he was able to get free relief. I understand you get free relief when it's a temporary immovable object. So, that makes sense. There's a building there, or there's a tent there, or there's a TV tower there, and you just can't swing, and you're able to get a free drop. That makes total sense to me. But the wording that I was reading afterwards and heard from the officials was the quote, virtually certain that it entered that grandstand structure. So, all right, I mean, I always thought you actually had to physically find it, and that's why I thought maybe he was going to be in trouble, but he ultimately gets the free drop because of that. I wonder if just because these tournaments don't have, if it's not in a defined out of bounds, it's still course property. I still think, though, to me, you got to find the ball. So, I'm curious this week when I get a chance to talk with Jeff Meadis and some of the other pros that I'll see this week of just that virtually certain phrasing. Is that a hard and locked thing that's always been there? Because I was surprised on how it played out. Not to say that I don't agree with it. I think if we are virtually, hey, it went there, this is where it should go. It's kind of like maybe if a ball is plugged and we're like, hey, we all saw it hit the dead center of the fairway, we're walking up and we all can't see it because it's soggy and it's wet. Sometimes there'll be local rules that will allow to say that you can have a free drop.
Gallery rule, finger quotes.
Yeah,
right?
Courses can do that. Right.
It's over here somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just in a tournament where there's 1,000 cameras and tens of thousands of fans, and it's the number one player in the world who it's not like he's going to have 3 people following him. He's going to have the whole course following him. It was just odd that ended up being the result. But I guess that rule is there, virtually certain that it was there. That's what he ended up getting. And then the DeChambeau thing, he obviously also was involved in a rule thing. Now, the intentionally versus unintentionally thing, to me, also was something that I wasn't 100% sure on. But the RNA had said that Bryson unintentionally could have improved his swing path. And the unintentional part was something that I wasn't 100% sure of, like, well, does that rule exactly the same as it is for intentionally? And that obviously ended up being the case. That whether, and Bryson obviously was arguing for the fact that he didn't even do it at all. So that, that piece, obviously, I think that's all camera angles. I think that's all like, well, how do you truly know what your swing path is? I mean, that's a shot too, when you're in that kind of rough.
Yeah.
You don't want to take a wide, shallow swing because you're going to catch everything. You want to go really steep and really vertical. So the chances of you catching something is less that way. So maybe, where he walked behind it, he figured, look, I'm going to go straight vertical kind of with my club anyway. This isn't going to affect it. I mean, these guys know the rules insides and out. I got to think with the way Bryson was walking around there that he knew, like, hey, I'm matting this down pretty good with my body weight. And he wasn't taking the phrasing I was using a lot. He was not gingerly walking around there.
No, he was stomping.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's why, with that evidence there, like, I can't see too much of an argument to say that he shouldn't have not, that he should not have had that. So, but the bigger problem to me, I'm okay with Bryson even fully, saying I still 100% disagree. I wish he would have spoken to the media, so maybe we could have gotten his perspective on it. But the part that really, really bothered me about the whole thing was as he's leaving there and he's mouthing to the official, I might not come back tomorrow. I just think that's a terrible look for him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what Rory talked about yesterday, I think, right? Like, everyone had to stay. No one knows what the tee times are. The volunteers are all there. Like, all of that was just, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to accuse the guy of doing it on purpose, but he did what he did. He got the penalty. You can disagree with it, but the behavior after was really tough to watch, I think.
How about McIlroy calling him out like that?
Yeah. Just
I'm not fond of him.
Right.
It's performative. I mean, that's pretty serious criticism from one star athlete about another.
And these guys don't talk. I mean, usually golfers are so complimentary of each other, or even if they don't like each other, they almost never say anything juicy like what Rory did. So,
yep.
I mean, Rory is a guy that has a platform and probably has earned it so in terms of where his stance is, his status is right now in golf. So that's how he feels. Maybe he feels like, hey, I can say it. Why do I have to worry about my relationship with Bryson that I don't want anyway? So I guess I'm okay with him saying it because we're always looking for them to say something interesting, and he did there. And the performative phrasing is interesting because yes, DeChambeau was out there and he's gesturing with his arms and he's flicking his hat off and he's doing all these things. And then even I don't want to say they have to be connected. I guess he likes to practice after, but then I'm marching to the range. I'm ignoring the media. I'm hitting balls in the dark. I'm going to swing as hard as like all that. Just and he knows cameras are on him for this whole thing. USA, for all of the Law and Order fans that wanted to watch that episode, well, USA extends their coverage the whole time for like an hour and change more, and I'm like, oh my goodness, here. I'm watching golf coverage here, and I haven't even seen a golf shot for like an hour and a half. I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. Here's to it.
I don't know if people didn't see it. I didn't hear all of the comments, but so I don't know that Scheffler ever said he disagreed with the penalty that DeChambeau got, but he talked at length about knowing him and having played with him even back to maybe amateur days. And like the way Scheffler said, at least the clip I saw, was like, there's always guys that you come across that you're suspicious of. Like, I'm competing with this guy. Is this guy, is he going to foot wedge? Is he going to whatever? He's like, I've never, ever seen any evidence of Bryson being like that. It's like, I don't have any doubt that whatever happened was accidental, basically, is what unintentional. He didn't mean to improve his lie. So again, I don't know if he sided with Rory or what on the penalty itself, but he certainly, and a few other golfers have too, defended DeChambeau against that. He knowingly went in there to try to, improve his chances of getting the ball out of there successfully.
Brian, we got to run. Thanks for all your time last week and all season here.
You guys got it. It's always fun. Thanks.
Thank you. Brian Koziol, Tee to Green, Saturday mornings. It's a lot easier to say that you don't think he meant to do it. But really, what was he doing? Just he was
I don't
pretty
know.
aggressively.
Yeah.
It didn't look, whether that's why he got the penalty or not, it didn't look like he was in there 100% mindful of the rule. And it was said, too, you probably heard it, that there is an official walking with that group. Why didn't the official go in there?
That was a big question that I heard frequently over the weekend. Yeah.
Well, congrats to you two. Once I was eliminated, I paid it off.
Very quickly.
Before the tournament was
Admirable.
even over.
Yep.
Once I couldn't, it was down to 3 guys. I had none of them.
Right.
Why waste time?
Yep.
Sam Monson with us today. Check the mic with Sam and Steve Palazzolo, checking in on the Bills as we approach training camp and the rest of the AFC. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, that's next here on WGR.